Chapter 226. Jiang Xi didn't reveal himself immediately. Instead, he used his spiritual sense to investigate in the air at the edge of the holy city. After some investigation, he found that the ordinary residents of the holy city hadn't moved back yet after more than 10 days. As expected, Jesus hadn't left the holy city. It made sense. He had a close relationship with the holy city. If he left, he would lose some of his special means. What surprised Jiang Xi was that Mr. Yuan Qingshan hadn't left either. I'm afraid the secret collusion between Hesus and the people of Hermit Yuan Qing has been going on for a long time. Perhaps the mysterious founder of the Freedom Alliance has always been hiding in the holy city. That's why no one has discovered his tracks all these years. Jiang Xi's face turned cold. He stopped hiding and revealed himself in the air. Jesus, Mr. Yuan Qingshan, come out and face your death. He deliberately used his spiritual force. His voice was like rolling thunder, echoing in the sky above the holy city. In the holy city cathedral, Jesus and Mr. Yuan Qingshan were stunned. They recognized that it was Jiang Xi's voice. How dare you? They were very surprised. They thought that Jiang Xi, Shen Tian, and Li Bai had all come. However, their spiritual sense discovered that Jiang Xi was the only one in the sky above the holy city. Wasn't he here to die? Contact the nearest military base of the Holy Alliance and transfer a few satellites over for a live broadcast. I'll use this opportunity to make everyone believe that I'm right. Jesus had many thoughts and quickly made some arrangements. Then, he said to Mr. Yuan Qingshan, you don't have to do anything. It's easy for me to deal with him with the help of the holy city. That's good too. The dragon python mentioned me in the live broadcast. If I appear, it will make people suspicious. Mr. Yuan Qingshan nodded. Then, Jesus flew out of the cathedral and stood in the air. He was very confident that if Jiang Xi didn't escape this time, he could use the power of the holy city to kill Jiang Xi. Furthermore, it wasn't just about killing them. Several satellites of the Sacred Alliance were already recording this place from all angles. He also wanted to take this opportunity to push all the blame for the Battle of the Sacred City onto Jiang Xi. River Word, you demon. You're too arrogant. How dare you come to my holy city? Hesus pointed at River Word, expressing his anger and pain to the extreme at this time. The scene here had already been broadcasted to all parts of the world via satellite. On the internet, one could clearly see what was happening in the sky above the sacred city. The world was in an uproar. After half a month of fermenting public opinion, Jiang Xi, Shen Tian, and Li Bai, one of them finally stood out. However, they didn't know that Shen Tian and Li Bai were about to reach the Peacock Country. When Hesus angrily scolded Jiang Xi, many people felt the same way, as if Jiang Xi was really a demon. There were also people who were looking forward to seeing how Jiang Xi would respond. Could Jiang Xi really be a sinister murderous demon like Hesus said? Under the gaze of tens of thousands of people, Jiang Xi said again with an indifferent expression, hypocrite. After reaching the golden core stage, his spiritual sense had also been upgraded. Just now, his spiritual sense had discovered Hesus' little trick of mobilizing the satellite broadcast. He didn't stop it, as he had a clear conscience. Since you took the initiative to come to me, then today, I will avenge those cultivators and great demons who died last time and kill you, demon. The holy light on Hesus' body was rich and incomparably sacred. Punishment of the holy light. Following his angry roar, the buildings all over the city released wisps of holy light at the same time, which gathered in the sky above the holy city and condensed into powerful holy light spears. Go! Thousands of holy light spears whistled toward Jiang Xi like a rain of arrows. The powerful power shocked some of the golden core stage experts who were watching the satellite broadcast. Some people didn't participate in the Battle of the Sacred City last time. Therefore, many people didn't know Hesus' strength. Only now did they see how powerful Hesus was. Even they couldn't withstand those holy light spears. If they didn't escape, they would die. What a joke! Jiang Xi laughed. A thick layer of purple protective light suddenly appeared all over his body, and he stood out of thin air like a godfiend. True sword intent. With a thought, A layer of sword shadow rose from the abyss sword in his hand as if it could penetrate space. Those powerful holy light spears were about to fly in front of him. The light was so dazzling that the satellite broadcast couldn't capture a specific image. Punishment of the holy light. My ass. What right do you have to punish others? Accompanied by Jiang Xi's indifferent voice, he swung his sword lightly. The sword shadow turned into sword shadows that filled the sky and directly pierced those powerful holy light spears. Puff, puff, puff. The holy light spears that seemed to be able to burn all the evil in the world disappeared into thin air. When the light dissipated, the satellite broadcast captured the image again. Jiang Xi was unscathed, but Isus's face was full of disbelief. Impossible. Punishment of the holy light. He opened his arms and was about to attack again. Let's end this. However, at this moment, Jiang Xi disappeared on the spot. His speed had reached the maximum. What? Isus's face changed drastically. Kai, the sharp blade of the abyss sword swept across his forehead, and his whole body was cut in half. You have killed an early-stage golden core cultivator. Experience points plus 1,000. Jiang Xi swung his sword lightly as if talking to himself. His loud voice echoed in the sky above the holy city. All schemes are illusory in the face of absolute strength. If I were a devil, then I would be the devil who punishes the wicked. Today, I will show everyone who is good and who is evil. These few words were clearly transmitted to all parts of the world through the satellite broadcast. Many people had yet to recover from the shock of Jiang Xi killing Isus when their attention was attracted by Jiang Xi's words. Who is good and who is evil? What does he mean? Just as everyone was puzzled, the satellite broadcast captured a black-robed figure flying out of the Holy City Cathedral and fleeing at high speed. The black-robed man. Some time ago, the great demon dragon Python said that Isus and a black-robed man were behind the battle of the Holy City. Could it be Isus lied? That kind-looking pope who represents holiness is really a hypocrite. This scene caused a huge commotion. Although everyone was still puzzled, they realized what the truth was in their hearts. The public debate that had been going on for half a month had finally come to light. In the sky above the holy city, Jiang Xi would not let any of his enemies go. His figure flashed, and he caught up with the fleeing Yuan Qingshan. Jiang Xi, don't kill me. I can tell you the big secret of the Fengdu mystic realm. In the face of death, Yuan Qingshan was also terrified. He never would have thought that in just half a month, River Word would become so formidable. He was many times stronger than before. He dispersed the powerful holy light punishment with one strike. Even a late-stage golden core cultivator would not be as powerful as Jiang Xi, right? No need. Jiang Xi rejected decisively. The secret of the Fengdu mystic realm? What Yuan Qingshan knew could not be bigger than the secret of the ghost sect's inheritance. Chapter 227. Jiang Xi's ruthless rejection caused Yuan Qingshan to fall into despair. Damn it! You won't have an easy time even if I die. He roared angrily as the spiritual power in his body surged and expanded. He was also about to self-destruct. Why bother? Jiang Xi shook his head gently. The wind whistled as he suddenly stabbed his sword into Yuan Qingshan's body like lightning. Under the extreme speed, the other party couldn't dodge at all. This time, it wasn't a deflation, but a direct explosion. Boom! A huge explosion occurred in the sky above the sacred city. The power of an early-stage golden core cultivator's self-destruction was undoubtedly demonstrated at this moment. It was as if 10 nuclear bombs had been detonated at the same time. The entire peninsula where the sacred city was located shook violently. A huge tsunami occurred in the Mediterranean Sea and quickly drowned the entire peninsula. The monsters living here also fled as if their lives depended on it. This power was enough to destroy the world. Could Jiang Xi, who was at the center of the explosion, withstand such a powerful force? After a long time, the storm subsided. Everyone could clearly see it through the satellite broadcast. Jiang Xi, who was covered in a purple protective light, was standing quietly in the sky above the sacred city. It was as if everything that had just happened had nothing to do with him. So powerful. Everyone was shocked. Jiang Xi's expression was calm. He didn't care about what the people outside thought about this battle. He also didn't care whether the people outside believed what he said or not. Strength was enough to prove everything. This time, he killed 2 people and showed his powerful strength. No one would be stupid enough to jump out and cause trouble. Even if it was the zombie patriarch of the Ma family, who had the combat power of a late-stage golden core cultivator, if that old guy dared to jump out, he would turn him into a real corp. The power of the explosion just now was so powerful, but these ancient buildings were not damaged at all. Under the satellite broadcast, Jiang Xi strolled leisurely in the sacred city. At the same time, he carefully searched the sacred city with his spiritual sense, trying to find out the secrets of this city. The sacred city's forbidden area, the cathedral, the Colosseum. He carefully observed for a while, but he didn't find anything. The entire sacred city is integrated as if there is some kind of connection. Unfortunately, with my current strength, I can't see through everything here. Jiang Xi didn't underestimate this sacred city. In the end, he shook his head and put these doubts aside. His body swayed and disappeared. It was time to go home. Jiang Xi's battle was not as simple as shocking as it seemed. It had a far-reaching impact. The strength he displayed made the people of the Western world fall into complete despair. With such an absolute expert in the Great Xia Kingdom, they didn't even have the chance to overtake them. Previously, those who said that Jiang Xi, Shen Tian, and Li Baibai were the 3 Eastern demons disappeared from the internet. Because in this battle, Isis had revealed his true colors. It was enough to prove that the previous demon's words were false. No one dared to mention this again. So what if Jiang Xi and the others were demons? Who would dare to challenge them? Despair spread throughout the Western world. However, it wasn't over yet. Just when everyone thought that this matter had been settled, another shocking battle in Peacock Country broke out on the internet. Shen Tian and Li Baibai started from the upper reaches of the Peacock Nation's holy river and chased after him for thousands of kilometers. In the end, they killed the current Brahmin overgod Mo Tuor at the lower reaches of the holy river. The scene of the battle between the 3 of them caused the sacred river to churn violently. The river water flowed backwards and flooded countless wilderness along the river. Such a battle silenced the world once again. Many people finally realized that in addition to Jiang Xi, there was also Shen Tian and Li Baibai in the Great Xia Kingdom. These 2 peerless experts had dominated the world's martial arts world for many years. Despair. On this day, in addition to the Great Xia Kingdom, the Dark Shadow Nation and the Sacred Alliance in the Western world, the Alpha Star in the north, and the Peacock Nation in the south. The upper echelons and martial arts experts of each country made a helpless and bitter decision. They gave up on chasing after the Great Xia Kingdom and developed in secret, waiting for an opportunity. In the Great Xia Kingdom, the whole country was boiling. A new year had just passed, and now it was like a new year. The 3 great experts spread their might across the world, crossing thousands of miles and killing powerful enemies. Now, everyone understood. It turned out that the 3 great experts weren't swallowing their anger. They didn't make a move before, which was a kind of benevolence. They wanted to let their enemies live for a while longer. But once they made a move, they used thunderous means and killed them directly. Jiang Xi quietly returned to Pak Sen province in the midst of the hustle and bustle. Recalling the call with the Shen Tian just now, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Because the Shen Tian complained that the Peacock Nation was too poor. That old monk Mo Tuor was an expert from 1,000 years ago, and he didn't have any family background. From head to toe, he had nothing but clothes. The Shen Tian complained, but in fact, they also understood that the Peacock Nation couldn't be so poor. There should be a lot of inheritance that hadn't been dug up. For example, the peacock visualization method that Jiang Xi cultivated was provided by a spirit vessel cultivator in the Peacock Nation. This visualization method was valued by even the Dao integration expert, Daoist GE, so it was definitely not simple. If there's a chance in the future, I must go to the Peacock Nation to hunt for treasures. Jiang Xi thought to himself as he stepped into the house. It only took an hour to go out, kill someone, and come back. It was very easy. After this battle, Jiang Ci guessed that the world's martial arts world would probably enter a period of calm. The impact of the fourth recovery of spiritual qi had subsided. Those awakened powerhouses were most likely going to go into hiding again. He was also happy to see such a situation. It was great that there was no need to fight and kill. In the following days, he either accompanied Jiang Dudu to cultivate or went to the wilderness to kill monsters and harvest a wave of experience points. Of course, in this piece, Jiang Ci was also steadily improving his strength. After reaching the early stage of the Golden Core realm, his experience points in cultivation and Dao techniques increased to 800 points every day. He improved a little bit every day, moving toward a higher realm. After returning from the Holy City, half a month later, he broke through again and reached the mid-stage of the Golden Core realm. This breakthrough was expected, and Jiang Ci wasn't surprised. His main energy now was studying two things. First, deduce the true meaning of Gale and upgrade this Dao technique to the next realm. Second, learn how to set up teleportation arrays in preparation for truly entering the universe. In terms of deducing the true meaning of Gale, the results were not satisfactory. Every time he thought about it, Jiang Ci's heart twitched in pain. In order to make his heart feel a little better, he spent 100,000 experience points every day to deduce it 10 times. In half a month, a total of 15 million experience points were spent, and there was no gain. For this, he had to go to the wilderness around Pak Sn province every day to kill monsters and harvest experience points. Jiang Ci didn't believe that there were tens of billions of monsters in the wilderness of the Great Xia country. With so much experience points, how could he not deduce the next stage of the true meaning of Gale? What made him feel a little better was that his understanding of teleportation arrays was very fast. And his requirements were very simple. At this stage, as long as he could set up a small teleportation array, he didn't need to study it too deeply. Just like that, half a year passed in the blink of an eye. Chapter 228. Compared to the vast universe, Earth was like a grain of sand, unremarkable. Even after hundreds of years, the solar system, which humans had yet to fully explore, appeared insignificant in the starry sky. New Moon Year 96, July 7th. On this day, at the edge of the solar system, in the dead silent starry sky, a ripple suddenly appeared like the surface of water. A flying boat without sails passed through the ripple and appeared in the starry sky abruptly. The flying boat was enveloped by an invisible barrier. The many dangers in the vacuum environment did not affect the flying boat at all. At this moment, 3 figures stood on the deck of the flying boat. 2 men and 1 woman, all of whom looked young. The 3 of them looked somewhat similar to the people of Great Xia. They wore different styles of spiritual battlesuits and emitted powerful auras. When they saw the starry sky environment clearly, they immediately knelt on the ground and shouted in an ancient language to vent their excitement. "Captain, we've made it. We've made it. After 3 years without sleep and rest, we've conquered the core area of the chaotic star belt. Haha, the chaotic star belt, the forbidden land in the pale blue star region that no one has set foot in for tens of thousands of years has been broken by me, Hu Yang." Hu Yang was the leader of the short-haired young men. He looked the most similar to the people of Great Xia. He had a handsome face and was quite elegant. He quickly calmed down and instructed the other man and woman, RZE, Chiu Hong, quickly record this historical moment with the astrolabe. This moment will become one of the glories of my life as a wanderer. They took out the astrolabe and started recording. After a while, the other young man with a scar on his face, Chu Zi, changed his expression. "Captain, there's no mark of the heavenly eye in this starry sky." "What?" The short-haired young man, Hu Yang, was shocked. He quickly snatched the astrolabe and waved his hand to summon a blurry image of the starry sky. The heavenly eye of the heavenly eye covered the entire universe. As long as it was a human territory, there would be a mark of the heavenly eye. The astrolabe could use the power of the heavenly eye to provide navigation for interstellar travel. At this moment, the astrolabe did not show their current location. "Captain, this is a desolate galaxy. If there's a planet of life here, we'll be rich." Chiu Hong was very excited. Her temperament was somewhat feminine. The 3 of them, who had just calmed down, suddenly became excited again. They stood on the airship and looked at a planet at the edge of the solar system. RZE, Chiu Hong, let's explore these planets one by one. Record it down with the star atlas, Hu Yang said heroically. He was also extremely excited. Just as Chiu Hong had said, if they could find a planet with life, then they would be rich. According to the rules of the Tao Alliance, the first person to discover a life-bearing planet in the desolate nebula can apply to become the ruler of the planet. If there is really a life planet here, even the lowest level 1 life planet would be worth millions of lower spiritual crystals. Once it is sold, its value will be even higher. Although I'm the #1 genius of the Qing Xian sect in this generation, I've comprehended a Tao domain with my cultivation at the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm, and my combat strength is comparable to that of the nascent Soul realm. However, compared to the geniuses of the top-tier immortal Tao sects of the Tao Alliance, there's still a huge difference. If I had such wealth, the foundation of cultivation was talent, but the foundation of cultivation was wealth and resources. With 1 million low-grade spiritual crystals, he could easily break through his current bottleneck and truly reach the nascent soul stage. It could also help him advance further in the nascent soul stage. It is said that the top geniuses of the 3 sects and 6 sects of the Tao Alliance can comprehend a complete Tao at the nascent soul stage. If I can get a great opportunity this time, I might have the chance to reach that stage. Hu Yang's heart was filled with ambition. The airship traveled silently in the starry sky. It seemed slow, but it was as if it was traveling through space. Every time it traveled, it would cross 100,000 kilometers. At this speed, if they did not explore other planets, they would reach Earth in 2 months at most. Earth, Pak SN Province, Mansion number 92 in Tongtian District. Jiang Ci had cleared out a large empty space in the underground training room. A small teleportation portal with a radius of 1 meter was engraved on it. In the middle of the slightly complicated runes, there were 3 grooves where the spiritual crystals would be placed. At this time, 3 low-grade blood spiritual crystals were placed on top of it. Jiang Dudu surrounded the teleportation portal and looked at it curiously for a long time. Brother, can this work? Last week, you sent a little rabbit to God knows where. You might as well burn it and eat rabbit meat. Jiang Ci patted his head and ignored Jiang Dudu's nagging. Last time, it was purely a mistake. There were some slight deviations in the angles of a few runes. After a week of readjustment, he was now sure that there should be no problem. However, he still had to test it. When he was sure that there were no problems, he could personally experience it. Where's the rabbit? Jiang Ci asked. Jiang Dudu reluctantly handed the rabbit to Jiang Ci. Why did he have to experiment with a rabbit? Rabbit was so delicious, Jiang Ci was speechless. He heard the little girl swallowing her saliva. Cough. He coughed and placed the confused rabbit in the middle of the teleportation portal. Under Jiang Dudu's reluctant gaze, he made a series of hand seals and activated the teleportation portal. The next moment, the teleportation portal absorbed the spiritual chi energy of the blood spiritual crystals and the runes lit up. Whoosh! The light dissipated and the little rabbit disappeared. Go take a look, go take a look. Jiang Dudu urged. Jiang Ci smiled and left the practice room in a flash. Then, he flew directly to the wilderness. He had set up a 2-way teleportation portal. The other end was in a remote place in the wilderness. To verify whether the teleportation was successful, he had to see if the rabbit appeared on the other end. In just 10 breaths, he arrived in front of a small mountain. There was a stone cave that he had dug in advance. The other end of the teleportation portal was inside. In fact, he had already discovered the situation in the stone cave from a long distance away. However, to be safe, he still had to confirm it with his own eyes. He walked into the stone cave and saw that there was also a small teleportation portal in the middle. Meanwhile, the little rabbit was jumping around in the cave, looking very happy. Success. Jiang Ci smiled and activated the teleportation portal here to teleport the little rabbit back. Success once did not mean that it would be successful every time. Experiments had to be done with a rigorous attitude. Therefore, this little rabbit was teleported back and forth thousands of times by Jiang Ci in a day. When the 2 moons rose, the confused little rabbit was finally free. However, its death still created value. It allowed Jiang Xi to confirm that the teleportation portal he had set up was a success. Next, I have to adjust the mark of the teleportation portal and change the destination to the Moon Palace on the first moon. Chapter 229. The teleportation array was not set up casually. There were many things to pay attention to. One of them was the carving of the imprint. Between 2 teleportation arrays, no matter how far they were, they had to be connected in order to be teleported. The imprint was equivalent to a signal identification code. It was the key to establishing a signal connection between the teleportation arrays. It was very important. The imprint of a teleportation array was divided into private imprints and universal imprints. Generally, a small teleportation array set up by an individual would use an encrypted private imprint. Of course, this was not absolute. On the other hand, large-scale interstellar teleportation arrays used universal imprints, which were public. The teleportation array in the Moon Palace of the first moon was left by Daoist Ge. Naturally, his private imprint was engraved on it. If one did not know Daoist Ge's private imprint, they would not be able to set the destination of the teleportation array there. And Jiang Xi had Daoist Ge's inherited memories, so he definitely knew this. Next, he spent another half a month and finally finished adjusting the imprint of the teleportation array. He could go to the first moon through this teleportation array. Before trying to teleport to the first moon, Jiang Xi first went to the Shentian city to find Shentian to buy some things. As the saying goes, the poor have a rich road. If one wanted to go on a long trip, they had to buy some traveling expenses for themselves. If one were to ask who had the most money on earth, of course, it would be Shentian. Shentian had been the world's #1 expert for so many years. He had participated in the excavation of many mystic realms and had obtained countless treasures. For example, the abyss condensation sword in Jiang Xi's hand was excavated by Shentian from an ancient mystic realm in the Great Xia Kingdom. Because of his poor appraisal skills, Shentian did not know how rich he was. Coincidentally, Jiang Xi knew, so he took a lot of good things from Shentian. With his wallet bulging, he also had the confidence to go on a long trip. New Moon Year 96, August 24, Tongtian District, Villa number 92, Underground Training Room. To teleport to the moon, the spiritual energy of 3 inferior blood spirit crystals is enough. After all, a mediocre blood spirit crystal was equivalent to all the energy of a spirit gathering stage practitioner under Jiang Dudu's gaze. Jiang Xi placed the blood spirit crystal in the energy slot of the teleportation array. He was preparing to teleport to the first moon. Big brother, are you sure you can go out in this outfit? Jiang Dudu was a little worried. This was because Jiang Xi was dressed very simply. He was dressed casually in a white shirt, jeans, and canvas shoes. He looked very ordinary. The profound condensation sword was also not on his back. It was stored in his storage ring. No one knows what's going on with the other planets. This is my first time in space, so I have to keep a low profile, Jiang Xi said seriously. It would be troublesome if he dressed too ostentatiously and the aliens thought that he was a fat sheep. Then you must be careful. Don't forget to bring back some extraterrestrial specialties for me. Jiang Dudu pretended to be relaxed and smiled, hiding the worry in her heart. Haha, I'll be right back. Jiang Xi waved his hand and activated the teleportation portal. The runes of the teleportation portal flickered, and he disappeared from the underground training room. Jiang Dudu did not go anywhere. She just stayed there and stared at the teleportation portal. She knew that Jiang Xi had set up the same teleportation portal in a remote place in the wilderness. Even if this one was destroyed, it would not affect Jiang Xi's travel. Not only that, but to prevent any accidents, she had also activated the villa's defense to the highest level and set it to reject all visitors. Nothing was more important than Jiang Xi's safety. This teleportation portal could not be damaged. On the first moon, in the dilapidated Guanghan Palace, the teleportation portal that was covered by a barrier suddenly activated, and the still grey fog rolled violently. A figure appeared in the flickering light. Haha, it worked. Jiang Ci saw the familiar environment in front of him and was surprised. Before the teleportation, he was still a little nervous. Even if he had tested it 1,000 times with a rabbit, it was a rabbit, not a human. He did not expect that he would succeed on his first try. Jiang Ci did not immediately leave the dilapidated Guanghan Palace. Instead, he kowtowed 3 times and 9 times at the place where Daoist Ge had disappeared. Although he had only interacted with Daoist Ge for less than 10 minutes, his master was still his master. The inherited memories that Daoist Ge had left for him were extremely useful. Then, he flew to the interstellar teleportation portal on the dark side of the first moon. With his current strength, he could survive in the vacuum of space for an hour or 2. But it was impossible for him to fly from Earth to the moon. It was a journey of nearly 400,000 kilometers. He would die in the vacuum before he could reach it. The first moon was small and had low gravity. In just 3 minutes, he flew to the dark side of the moon and arrived at the location of the interstellar teleportation portal. However, there was an endless sandstorm in front of him. 10,000 years have passed. The interstellar teleportation portal has long been buried by the sandstorm. Jiang Ci shook his head and activated his spiritual power. The wind whistled and blew away the sandstorm. He did this for a full 5 minutes. When the ground here sank by 3 meters, he saw the interstellar teleportation portal that covered an area of about 1 square kilometer. The runes that made up this portal were extremely complicated. Those patterns revealed an ancient aura. Surprisingly, after 10,000 years, this interstellar teleportation portal was not eroded by time and remained intact. 10,000 years ago, my cheap master discovered this interstellar teleportation portal. In order to prevent Yin Tianxing from escaping, he deliberately engraved his personal imprint on this portal. If you don't know how to activate the imprint, you can't use this portal. Similarly, if there are people from other planets who want to teleport here, they can't do it either. Jiang Ci smiled softly. This was equivalent to Daoist Ge encrypting the interstellar teleportation portal's identification code. People who did not have the password could not activate this portal, nor could they set the destination of the portal to this place. Next, Jiang Ci took out 3 low-grade blood spirit crystals from his storage ring and placed them in the energy slot of the interstellar teleportation portal. The destination he was going to this time was a planet with life that was very far away from Earth. It was called the Blue Planet. Back then, when Daoist Ge was chasing after Yin Tianxing of the Ghost Sect, he had stopped at the Blue Planet for a short time. According to Daoist Ge's inherited memory, only 2 low-grade spiritual crystals were needed to successfully activate the interstellar teleportation portal to the Blue Planet. The level of the interstellar teleportation portal was very high. It could automatically absorb the spirit chi of heaven and earth to ensure its normal operation. The spirit chi provided by the 2 low-grade spiritual crystals was only used to activate the portal. After setting the coordinates of the destination, Jiang Ci took a deep breath and was full of anticipation. Whether it was in the old era or the new era, humans were full of curiosity and desire to explore the universe. Besides Earth, were there any other planets with life in the universe? Chapter 230. Especially during the Third Spirit Chi awakening, palaces that were obviously built by intelligent life appeared on the 2 moons. This further confirmed that Earth might not be alone on this planet. However, no one could give a definite answer without seeing an alien with their own eyes. And Jiang Ci had seen an alien last year. The appearance of Daoist Ge and the inheritance memories he left behind gave Jiang Ci a deeper understanding of the universe. Humans on Earth were not the only intelligent life forms in the universe. The universe was vast and there were countless races. The human race was just one of them. Of course, it was a powerful race. With the Tao Alliance as the core, the human race occupied the vast 9 star zones and was one of the top races in the universe. Jiang Ci knew that when he activated the teleportation array, he would take a big step forward for the humans on Earth. He was about to enter an even more magnificent great world. I wonder if the aliens are like Master and look like the people of Great Xia? Jiang Ci thought about this question in his heart. Standing in the interstellar teleportation array, he did not hesitate and directly activated Daoist Ge's private imprint. Buzz. The interstellar teleportation array formed a special environment and emitted a buzzing sound. The complicated runes emitted a brilliant light and formed a mysterious pattern, as if resonating with another distant interstellar teleportation array. In the next moment, Jiang Xi's figure disappeared in the light. The blue star region had hundreds of galaxies with life. As the core planet of the region, the blue star was naturally the most prosperous. The blue star was very big. Its diameter was more than 100,000 kilometers, 10 times larger than Earth. Its population was as high as 10 billion. Because of the special location of the blue star, there were not only humans but also other races living in the various cities on this planet. Among them, Linhai City, which was located on the coast of the ocean, was one of the most open cities on the blue star. In the sky above the ocean outside the city, there were floating islands. Private flying boats or large public interstellar flying boats circled in the starry sky and landed on the floating islands. It was bustling with activity and was extremely prosperous. Those were the cultivators who had rushed to planet Kanglan on their flying ships from distant galaxies. They had all kinds of purposes, such as visiting friends, apprenticeship, traveling, competitive exchanges, business exchanges, and so on. After they got off the flying boat, they went through the teleportation array on the island and entered the main city of Linhai City. The teleportation point of Waterfront City was located at the edge of the main city area. It was a majestic hall that occupied an area of hundreds of square kilometers. Inside the teleportation hall, there were many small teleportation formations of different sizes. From time to time, they would light up as people were teleported from different places of Blue Star. As for the interstellar teleportation array in the depths of the hall, it lit up less frequently. Generally, cultivators who had the strength to step into the starry sky tended to use flying ships for interstellar travel. The reason for not using the interstellar teleportation portal was very simple. First of all, not all planets with life had interstellar teleportation arrays. Secondly, the cost of using the interstellar teleportation portal was too high. However, the interstellar teleportation cost at least 100 low-grade spiritual crystals each time. Although the flying boat was not as fast as the teleportation array, it was cheaper. The lifespan of a cultivator was long, and this little bit of time did not matter to them. Only when there was an emergency would one think of using the interstellar teleportation array. As for the interstellar teleportation, there were even fewer people using it because the cost of using it was tens of thousands of lower spiritual crystals. Although the activation of the interstellar teleportation portal did not cost many spiritual crystals, there were many other miscellaneous costs. Even a nascent soul cultivator would feel the pinch for decades if they took out so many spiritual crystals at once. Gong Shi was one of the captains of the guards of Waterfront City's teleportation hall. It was his turn to guard the teleportation hall for the past 10 years. However, the task of guarding the teleportation hall was very leisurely. Usually, there was nothing major, and the guards below would handle the small matters. On this day, Gong Shi was cultivating when he was awakened by a guard under his command. "Captain, the interstellar teleportation portal lit up." "So what if it lit up? Why are you making a fuss?" Gong Shi was a little displeased. It was very unpleasant to be disturbed when one was cultivating in peace. But the teleportation array did not show the origin. What? Gong Shi could not sit still anymore. In a flash, he came to the front of the interstellar teleportation portal. He saw that the interstellar teleportation portal, which was 1 square kilometer in size, lit up with a complicated pattern. This was a sign that someone was about to be teleported over. However, the mark on the teleportation array did not show the coordinates of the person being teleported. Seeing that the teleportation was about to be completed, Gong Shi suppressed the surprise in his heart and hurriedly ordered the guards under his command to line up. He first tidied up his clothes, then bent slightly and stood respectfully in front of the interstellar teleportation portal. After being the captain of the guards of the teleportation hall for so many years, he had concluded one experience: in this job, one could not offend people. At this time, in the teleportation hall, many of the cultivators coming and going nearby were attracted by the guards' actions. They curiously stopped in their tracks. What kind of person was able to make the guards of the Linhai City teleportation hall greet them so respectfully? After all, not many people used the interstellar teleportation portal all year round. In just 3 breaths, the complicated pattern emitted a dazzling light, and a figure appeared in the interstellar teleportation portal. The light dissipated, and everyone saw the figure clearly. His appearance was not strange. He was a normal human. However, his clothes were very strange. It was obviously different from the style of the blue planet. Gong Shi was also stunned for a moment, but he reacted quickly and hurriedly said in a clear voice, "I am Gong Shi, the 3rd captain of the guards of Waterfront City's teleportation hall on the blue planet. Welcome, sir." Even though he found that the person was also in the late stage of the Golden Core realm like him, he did not dare to be careless. Because generally, when interstellar teleportation was carried out, the teleportation portal would show the approximate location of the other end. There were only 2 possibilities for this situation. One was that the location of the other end of the teleportation portal was too far away, across the star region, and the teleportation mark on the other end could not be recognized. The other was that the person who used the teleportation portal was a peerless powerhouse who had concealed his origin. Although this person is not a peerless powerhouse, he can carry out interstellar teleportation with only the cultivation of the Golden Core realm. Either he is a genius from a top immortal sect or an ancient family in a distant star region. Or there is a peerless powerhouse behind him who has concealed his origin. No matter which one it is, I can't afford to offend him. Because one interstellar teleportation cost at least 10,000 low-grade spiritual crystals. He had only earned that many spiritual crystals in 10 years. This person's expression is normal, as if he has experienced such scenes often. Moreover, this person's clothes reveal a mysterious aura. Even I can't see through it. Gong Shi waited for a while, but the person in the teleportation portal did not respond to him. He was even more certain of his speculation. Chapter 231. In reality, Jiang Ci was a little confused. However, his many years of experience made him subconsciously show an indifferent attitude. In reality, he was extremely shocked. My God, this is the blue planet. The captain of the guards is already at the late-stage Golden Core stage. Not only that, but the group of guards behind Gong Shi were also at the Golden Core stage. Just one of the guards was already comparable to the most powerful force on Earth. How powerful was this planet? Jiang Ci was stunned for a few seconds before regaining his composure. He told himself that he had to be calm at this time. Then, he walked out of the galaxy teleportation formation area expressionlessly. At the same time, he casually observed his surroundings and saw many onlookers. Sure enough, there would be onlookers everywhere. Most of these people looked very normal. Only a few looked a little strange. Some had horns on their heads, some had tails on their butts, some had red eyes and green skin. However, they were all humanoid and belonged to the human race. My lord, please register your identity. Gong Shi did not forget his duty. He stepped forward with a respectful attitude. Jiang Ci only nodded slightly. He maintained his cold demeanor and followed him to the registration area. The galaxy was not as chaotic as one would imagine. This was especially so for the vital planets under the Tao Alliance's rule. The social order was very complete. Every time a cultivator arrived at a planet, they would have to register their identity. Of course, it was another matter whether the registered identity was real or fake. As long as they did not do anything bad, no one would investigate. After all, the universe was so big. No one would be so bored as to investigate these things every day. Everyone has to cultivate, all right? My lord, please show me your identity jade tablet, Gong Shi said. I lost my identity jade tablet. Help me make a new one. Jiang Ci said softly. His tone was calm, as if he was talking about something very normal. This was the first time he had spoken. Gong Shi's heart trembled. Jiang Ci was speaking the most authentic common language of the Tao Alliance. His pronunciation was perfect and very accurate. If he did not come from a top-tier sect or an ancient family, he would not be able to learn this at all. Perhaps he is undergoing some kind of training and cannot reveal his identity. That's why he said he lost his identity jade tablet. Gong Shi's mind raced. In the end, he decided to go with the flow and not investigate Jiang Xi's identity. Sir, please tell me your identity. Gong Shi smiled. Jiang Xi, Murong Star, Minglan Star region. Jiang Xi secretly breathed a sigh of relief and casually said the identity that he had prepared long ago. Minglan Star region. Gong Shi could no longer hide the shock in his heart, because he had heard of this star zone before. The Minglan Star region was located at the edge of the Zixiao domain. From there to the Kanglan Star region, one had to cross almost the entire Zixiao domain. This was no longer just crossing between star zones, it was equivalent to crossing between starfield. The Tao Alliance was divided into stellar regions, and stellar systems. Only nascent soul stage mighty figures were able to perform interplanetary teleportation. Although this Jiang Xi was only at the golden core stage, his background was definitely frightening. Therefore, he became even more respectful. A moment later. Sir, take care. Jiang Xi nodded gently and put the jade tablet into his storage ring. Afterwards, he walked out of the teleportation hall with steady steps under Gong Shi's respectful escort. After passing the test of identity, the rest was easy. After all, it was difficult for an unregistered person to move around anywhere. Sure enough, it's never a burden to have more skills. The common language of the Tao Alliance that I spent time learning in the inheritance memory has come in handy now. Jiang Xi sighed in his heart. The inheritance memory that Daoist Ge left for him was too comprehensive. After walking out of the teleportation hall, he looked at Linhai City, which had a completely different architectural style from that of Earth. Although River Word was surprised in his heart, he maintained his composure on the surface. Since the character had been set, it couldn't be changed. If someone found out something fishy, there might be trouble. The guard captain's attitude just now was so respectful, and it had a lot to do with his people. First of all, Daoist Ge had encrypted the interstellar teleportation array of the first moon. When he teleported, others couldn't see the interstellar coordinates from which he came. This gave people a sense of mystery. Secondly, although he seemed to be wearing simple clothes, he was actually wearing 2 pieces of underwear made of nascent soul stage demon skin. It was difficult for a golden core stage soul sense to see through the skin of a nascent soul stage demon. This made him even more mysterious. If he destroyed this mysterious character, he would be in big trouble. Therefore, he had to be careful, but he couldn't show this caution. Jiang Xi was like a tourist who was about to enter the main city of Linhai City. After a few steps, someone called him from behind. Brother Jiang Xi, please wait. Jiang Xi looked over in confusion and saw a tall and thin young man in luxurious clothes chasing after him from the teleportation hall. How did this person know his name? What's the matter? Jiang Xi's tone was calm. Brother Jiang Xi, this should be your first time on planet Kanglan, right? The tall and thin young man didn't answer the question. That's right. Jiang Xi nodded lightly. There was nothing to hide. The other party must have known his name from Gong Shi, but Gong Shi probably didn't have the guts to reveal his background. I knew it. In the past 100 years, I basically know all the cultivators who can use the interstellar teleportation array on planet Kanglan. Brother Jiang Xi, this is my first time meeting you. If you don't mind, I can be your guide. Charge. Haha, I, Shenwansi, am not that kind of person. I just want to be friends with Brother Jiang Xi. Jiang Xi nodded. Just based on your name, there's no harm in being friends with you. Since this person could find out his name from Gong Shi, he definitely wasn't simple. After chatting for a while, Jiang Xi found out that Shenwansi was really a businessman. According to the other party's description, he was quite rich. The Shen family has been on the Varro planet for tens of thousands of years. Generations of our family have been interstellar merchants. We are quite famous in the Blue Star region. According to my father's plan, I will take over his position after I reach the Yuanying realm. However, I don't want to go back and inherit the family business, so I came to planet Kanglan to make a living. After so many years, I've made a lot of business and made many friends. My biggest dream is to buy a manor in the main city of Linhai City and become a permanent resident of planet Kanglan. If you ask me, flying was prohibited in the cities of planet Kanglan, so the two of them walked to the main city of Linhai City. It wasn't far. Along the way, the two of them chatted as they walked, and Shenwansi was basically the one doing the talking. It was obvious that Shenwansi was indeed very talkative. Jiang Xi only interjected a few words occasionally. It was just nice that he could get more information from Shenwansi. Soon, he followed Shenwansi and arrived at the first destination of this trip. It was the largest interstellar business group on planet Kanglan Trade. In the building with different styles, many cultivators were shopping for goods. There were also interstellar businessmen discussing business here. However, these people's cultivation levels varied. The highest was only at the late-stage golden core stage. There was no one with a higher cultivation level. The attendants in the building were basically at the spirit nurture stage. Chapter 232. On Earth, spirit gathering stage cultivators were big shots. But here, spirit gathering stage cultivators were just waiters. Along the way, Jiang Xi was no longer surprised by such a scene. However, the two did not stay in the public trading hall of the Grey Cloud building. Shenwansi was indeed as influential as he said. He directly took Jiang Xi to the manager of the Grey Cloud Star Trade Hall, who was in charge of receiving VIPs. At the same time, he also introduced the situation of the Grey Cloud Star to Jiang Xi. The Grey Cloud sect is the most powerful immortal Dao sect in the Blue Star region. It rules the entire Blue Star region. It is said that the sect's ancestor is at the Dao integration stage and is extremely powerful. The Grey Cloud Star Trade Hall is the largest interstellar trading group under the Grey Cloud sect. It is responsible for the interstellar trading of the sect. Their business is all over the 9-star regions of the Dao Alliance. Shenwansi's face was full of envy. Because he was also an interstellar merchant, but he only had a small caravan under him. Compared with a behemoth like the Grey Cloud Star Trade Hall, it was like the difference between a small stone and the blue star. When Shenwansi said these words, he was also secretly observing Jiang Xi's reaction. However, he found that Jiang Xi's face still remained calm, as if the power of the Grey Cloud sect was not surprising in Jiang Xi's eyes. What is the origin of this guy? Along the way, I didn't notice any change in this guy's expression, nor did he reveal any more identity information. I only know that he came from the Minglan Star region. Shenwansi was full of curiosity about Jiang Xi. Of course, it was not out of curiosity. He really wanted to make friends with Jiang Xi. After all, there were not many gold core stage cultivators on the Blue Star who could make the guards of the teleportation hall line up to welcome them. This kind of person's background was definitely not simple. Shenwansi was a businessman and knew the importance of making friends with nobles. Therefore, when he left the teleportation hall just now, he took the initiative to catch up with Jiang Xi. When he learned that Jiang Xi was looking for a place to exchange something, he led the way to the Grey Cloud Star Trade Hall. In fact, Jiang Xi was quite shocked. Dao integration stage. In addition to Daoist Ge and Yin Tiansheng, he heard of another Dao integration stage powerhouse. Although he was shocked, his face did not show the slightest abnormality. The patriarch of the immortal Dao sect that ruled an entire star region was only at the Dao reunion level. Then, how powerful was the Purple Heaven sect that Daoist Ge belonged to? Jiang Xi thought to himself. Following Shenwansi, they soon arrived at the VIP reception area of the Grey Cloud Star Trade. He wasn't afraid that Shenwansi was a scammer. Societal experience was applicable everywhere. Shenwansi might have thought that he knew nothing about planet Kanglan, but in fact, in Daoist Ge's inherited memories, there was a general introduction to planet Kanglan. It was just that Shenwansi didn't know it in detail. Steward Zhuo, this is brother Jiang Xi from Minglan Star region. He wants to exchange something with you. Shenwansi introduced Jiang Xi to a well-dressed old man. Hello, young master Jiang Xi. Steward Zhuo's eyes lit up as he hurriedly invited Jiang Xi to take a seat. He knew Shenwansi's ability to recognize people. Since Shenwansi treated him so warmly, Jiang Xi's identity must not be simple. Jiang Xi sat down casually. With a sweep of his soul sense, he found that Steward Zhuo's cultivation was at the late stage of the gold core realm, just like Shenwansi. A small VIP steward had such a cultivation, which was enough to show how powerful the grey cloud star trade was. It should be easier for him to exchange something this time. Then, he directly told Steward Shua what he wanted. My family didn't give me many things when I went out this time, and I'm almost out of spiritual crystals. I just want to exchange some spiritual crystals on planet Kanglan. That's easy. Our grey cloud star trade is famous for its fair prices in the Blue Star region. Take out the things you want to exchange, and I'll help you appraise them first. Steward Shua said with a smile. He had received similar business countless times, so he was not surprised. Next to him, Shenwansi's eyes flashed. He wanted to know what treasures Jiang Xi could take out. From this, he could see Jiang Xi's background. Jiang Xi was very calm. He took out a stone that was 3 inches in length, width, and height from his storage ring and threw it on the table in front of Steward Shua. A stone. Shenwansi lost interest. He thought it was something good. What was so good about a piece of broken stone? This is a wonderful stone. Steward Shua's expression changed drastically. He jumped to his feet and was very excited. Yes, this is a wonderful stone. Jiang Xi nodded. A wonderful stone. Shenwansi was also shocked. He grabbed the stone and felt it. Then, he exclaimed, "It's really a wonderful stone. When I hold it in my hand, the speed at which I absorb spiritual qi has increased by several times." Steward Shua also took it and felt it. The shock on his face did not subside for a long time. He hesitated. "Young Master Jiang Xi, won't your family say something if you sell such a valuable thing? This was given to me by the ancestor. I have a lot of them, so I only keep them for fun." Jiang Xi's tone was calm. Shenwansi and Steward Shua looked at each other. It turned out that he really was a super young master. How powerful was this ancestor? Such a large piece of wonderful stone, and he gave it to his own junior as a toy. How extravagant. The normal size of a wonderful stone was a cube with length, width, and height of 1 inch. The large piece of wonderful stone that Jiang Xi took out was 3 inches in length, width, and height. If it was divided, such a large wonderful stone could be divided into 27 pieces of normal size. And a normal piece of wonderful stone was enough to increase the efficiency of a cultivator's absorption and transformation of spiritual qi. For cultivators, it was an auxiliary cultivation treasure that could only be encountered by chance. Even the Tsungyun sect, which ruled an entire star region, didn't have many wondrous stones. In the Tsungyun sect, only those genius disciples were qualified to have a small piece. "Give me a price. I'm in a hurry." Jiang Xi smiled faintly. His smile was like a spring breeze, giving people a good impression. He had Daoist Ge's inherited memories, so of course he knew the preciousness of wonderful stones. But wonderful stones were of no use to him. He had the experience value panel, so the effect of the wonderful stone's auxiliary cultivation was not worth mentioning. What's more, he did have a lot of wonderful stones in his hand. He did not lie. These wonderful stones were left behind by the ancestor on Earth. When Xian Tian, Li Baibai, and the others first discovered the Jade Lake secret realm, they found many wonderful stones at the top of Mount Tongtian. How big were they? If he had to describe them, each of them was a stone block as big as a millstone. The one in the Genten Buden Sky training camp was just one of them. Before he left this time, he took 3 wonderful stones of the same size from Xian Tian. How powerful was the Jade Lake secret realm at its peak? Wonderful stones are so precious, but they were casually used to make stone blocks. Jiang Xi could not help but sigh as he thought of this. On this side, Steward Shua pondered for a moment and finally gave a price. Such a large piece of wonderful stone can be divided into 27 regular pieces. How about 300,000 low-grade spirit crystals? Chapter 233. Jiang Xi shook his head and chuckled. The market price of one stone is 10,000 low-grade spirit crystals, but there is no market for them. If you really want to buy one, the price will be at least 3 times higher. That is to say, after you buy them from me, if you sell them, you can sell them for at least 800,000. Steward Shua laughed dryly. He thought that Jiang Ci was a prodigal young master who was easy to fool. He did not expect him to be so shrewd and know the market so well. Then, young master Jiang Ci, how much do you think is appropriate? Steward Shuo asked. 600,000 low-grade spirit crystals. How about 500,000? 600,000, if it's not enough, it's just pocket money anyway. Jiang Ci's attitude was very firm and he would not budge. Steward Shuo's expression changed and he finally smiled bitterly. Then let's do as young master Jiang Ci said. Treat it as making friends. Next time, if you have any good things, you can consider asking me for help. The reason why he could agree so readily was very simple. With so many stones, if he sold them to Grey Cloud Star Trade, he could definitely sell them for a high price of 1 million. Of course, he would definitely not sell them. At that time, these stones would all be handed over to the Grey Cloud sect. After all, stones were auxiliary cultivation treasures that could only be found by chance. Sometimes, they could not be bought even if you had money. Jiang Ci also understood this, so his attitude was so tough just now. He nodded gently and smiled. That's easy. It just so happens that I want to buy something from you. Oh. If young master Jiang Ci needs anything, just say the word. Our Grey Cloud Star Trade's products are definitely the most complete in the Blue Star region. Steward Shuo's eyes lit up. I don't want my family to know my whereabouts this time, so I need to buy a new communication bead, and then give me 100,000-year-old and 10,000-year-old spiritual items. Jiang Ci chuckled. So many spiritual items. Young master Jiang Ci wants to refine pills? Steward Shuo was surprised. I don't want to do that kind of laborious work. I want to buy some spiritual fruits to eat and taste the spiritual fruits of the Blue Star to see if they taste different. Jiang Ci shook his head. His demeanor was that of a rich young master who spent lavishly. Shun Wanxi and manager Zhuo looked at each other speechlessly. This was too much of a blow. The 1,000-year-old and 10,000-year-old spirit fruits were the raw materials for refining low-grade and mid-grade spirit pills respectively. They were extremely precious. Eating it like a fruit. Afterward, Jiang Ci picked a few types of phase and fruits that he had never eaten before. Not long after, an attendant of the Golden Core stage came over with a storage ring. It contained the things that Jiang Ci needed, including a communication bead. Steward Shuo inspected the goods one by one for Jiang Ci. These are top-grade messaging pearls, worth 10,000 low-grade spirit crystals. As long as you are within the 9 great star fields of the Tao Alliance, you can use them to send messages. And these spiritual items, Jiang Ci waved his hand to stop him from introducing the items. No need for that. Just calculate the price. Steward Shuo did not mind and quickly stated the price. A 1,000-year-old fruit costs 100 low-grade spirit crystals. A 10,000-year-old fruit costs 1,000 low-grade spirit crystals. Together with the communication bead, the total price is 120,000. This time, Jiang Ci did not haggle. That would ruin his image. How could a spendthrift like him do something as lowly as haggling? 120,000 low-grade spirit crystals. Jiang Ci's heart was throbbing with pain. If he calculated according to the blood spirit crystals, that would be 120,000 golden core cultivators. Of course, that was not the case. Low-grade spirit crystals were naturally formed, while blood spirit crystals were refined by the spirit refinement blood array. Young master Jiang Ci, how do you want the rest of the spirit crystals? Do you want to deposit them in the Tao Alliance Crystal Bank or? Steward Shuo asked. Deposit 400,000 into the Tao Alliance Crystal Bank. As for the remaining 80,000, exchange them for 6 high-grade spirit crystals, 100 middle-grade spirit crystals, and 10,000 low-grade spirit crystals. I will keep them with me. Jiang Ci took out his identity jade token and added, open a new account in the Tao Alliance Crystal Bank with this information. Also, prepare 2 more storage rings for me. I have other uses for them. His casual attitude convinced Steward Shuo and Shen Wanxi in the VIP room. Soon, Steward Shuo took care of everything for Jiang Ci. The remaining spirit crystals were all stored in a new storage ring. He even gave Jiangxi an empty storage ring as an additional gift. As for the spirit crystals stored in the Tao Alliance crystal bank, the next time Jiangxi wanted to use them, he could just go and retrieve them. The Tao Alliance crystal bank was spread throughout the Tao Alliance's 9 great star zones. Basically, there were branches on the larger planets with life. It was very convenient to deposit and withdraw them. After receiving these items, Jiangxi secretly heaved a sigh of relief. This way, this trip could be considered complete. After leaving planet Ash Cloud, Shenwanxi's attitude became even more enthusiastic. He no longer called Jiangxi brother. Instead, he called him Jiangji. He could be considered to have completely witnessed Jiangxi's wealth. 600,000 low-grade spirit crystals. He had spent 120,000 of them without even blinking his eyes. He had been on planet Ash Blue for close to 100 years. Relying on an interstellar caravan under him, his savings had only just exceeded 200,000 low-grade spirit crystals. He was only 800,000 low-grade spirit crystals away from his dream of buying a manor in Waterfront City. People really couldn't compare with people. Shenwanxi was now completely sure that Jiangxi had a very powerful background. He asked enthusiastically, Jiangji, where are we going next? Let's go see the scenery of planet Ash Blue first. Jiangxi smiled. Looking at romance or looking at specialties? Shenwanxi smiled mischievously. Jiangxi raised his eyebrows. Romance. Do I look like that kind of person? In the end, he followed Shenwanxi to look at specialties. Planet Ash Blue is a famous trading planet in the Xixiao region. The atmosphere of interstellar trade is very strong. In such an environment, it gave birth to a special industry, the slave trade. I'm sure you've never seen this before, Jiangji. After all, there aren't many planets in the Taoist Alliance that can carry out legal slave trade. Shenwanxi brought Jiangxi to planet Ash Blue's largest slave trade market. There were thousands of shops of various sizes in the entire market. In every shop, cultivators known as slaves were displayed. Stiff, numb, listless, desperate, angry, pessimistic. These slaves' faces were filled with all kinds of negative emotions. Seeing this scene, Jiangxi was shocked, but he still tried to maintain a calm expression. There are even golden core slaves, and the price is clearly marked. Early golden core, 20,000 low-grade spirit crystals, mid-stage golden core, 50,000 low-grade spirit crystals, and late-stage golden core, 100,000 low-grade spirit crystal. Spirit nurturing is even cheaper. The highest is only 1,000 low-grade spirit crystals. Previously, when he was sorting out Daoist GE's inherited memories, he had a brief understanding of the slave trade in interstellar space. However, the shock brought by the memories was definitely not as deep as seeing it with his own eyes. After all, Daoist GE was a Dao integration stage elite who stood at the peak of cultivation. A slave trade like this was not within his scope of concern. Chapter 234. The shop in front should have some good stuff. 10 years ago, that slave merchant bought a planet of life in the desolate galaxy from a team of space hunters. The natives of that planet are actually the Catmen clan, which has been extinct in the universe for a long time. Those cat women are all stunningly beautiful. TSK, Shenwanxi had a look that all men understood. The two entered the shop. Bosses, come and take a look. My catwomen are all top-notch goods. You can't find another shop like them in the entire Kanglan Star region, or even the entire Xixiao region, and our family's goods are also the safest. Whether it's the gold core stage or the spirit gathering stage, we have placed a restriction in the depths of their sea of consciousness. Even the ordinary goods, we have also placed a blood restriction. I guarantee that they are the most obedient. The shop assistant, who was also in the gold core realm, greeted them warmly and introduced the slaves in the shop to them. Jiangxi glanced around the shop. The owner of this shop was very good at doing business. Every catwoman was locked in a cage. Judging by their cultivation, these catwomen ranged from ordinary people to the spirit gathering realm and then to the gold core realm. The catwomen in the spirit gathering realm and the gold core realm were extremely angry, while the ordinary catwomen were terrified. Coupled with their beautiful figures, they were indeed pitiful. Jiang Xi sighed in his heart and shook his head. Not bad. They are quite attractive. But they are not as good as the butterfly maids in my house. Butterfly maids? That's the best slave maids. Shen Wanzi was surprised. Hearing this, the shop assistant's eyes lit up. It turned out that he was a big boss. He quickly said, "Boss, butterfly maids and catwomen have their own characteristics. It's okay to buy some more catwomen. Our shop has a uniform price. Ordinary catwomen only cost 1,000 low-grade spiritual crystals, spirit-gathering catwomen 10,000, and gold core catwomen 100,000. Buy 10 and get 1 free." Seeing that Jiang Xi's expression remained unchanged, he added, "Of course, we also have the treasure of our shop, a catwoman in the late gold core realm. If you want, you only need to pay 200,000. Next time." Jiang Xi suddenly lost interest. Ignoring the shop assistant's pleas to stay, he left the shop with Shen Wanzi. Shen Wanzi did not notice Jiang Xi's abnormality because Jiang Xi's current state of silence was no different from before he was still sighing. Sigh, sometimes I really envy those starry sky hunters. They can rely on their powerful combat strength to roam the starry sky. Especially those space hunters who specialize in finding life planets in the desolate star system. If they can find a life planet and sell it to a slave merchant, they will become rich instantly. Buying a manor in Linhai City is also a piece of cake. After all, even the lowest level 1 life planet can be sold for at least 1 million low-grade spiritual crystals. Of course, these space hunters are all people who live on the edge of a blade. Sometimes, if they are unlucky, they might encounter a powerful wild planet. It is common for them to be killed by the natives. Therefore, in the entire slave industry, the ones who make the most money are still the slave merchants. They buy life planets in the desolate star system and use them as slave breeding bases. Then, through the huge population base, they can cultivate spirit nurturing, golden core, and even nascent soul cultivators as slaves. And the lower the level of a life planet, the easier it is to make money. Because the fertility of low-level life forms is generally higher. For example, a level 1 life planet can have a population of more than 10 billion. If there is one spirit-nurturing cultivator among 100 million people, it is considered a profit. After 100 years, they can earn 1 million low-grade spiritual crystals. What they earn in the future is pure profit. It is simply a small capital and a huge profit. Shen Wanzi's talkative nature was brought to the extreme. His mood alternated between low and high. Jiang Xi looked calm, but in fact, he was listening attentively. These things were not in Daoist Ge's inherited memories. He put away the pride he had felt in Planet Grey Cloud's star trade. He remained silent, feeling suffocated. It was not that he felt sad for the situation of those slaves, because he was not qualified. He was not a genius from a top immortal Dao sect or an ancient family. The Earth he was on was very similar to the planet where those feline girls lived. They were both uncivilized planets. On the feline girl planet, the strongest feline girl was only a late-stage golden core cultivator. After being caught by the starry sky hunters, they became slaves that could be sold. The entire feline girl planet had also become a breeding base for slave traders. If Earth is also discovered by the starry sky hunters, Jiang Xi felt a sense of urgency in his heart. He was afraid that the fate of Earth would not be much better than that of the feline girl planet. In Daoist Ge's inherited memories, there was also detailed information about the level of life planets. The level classification standard was defined according to the strength of the life forms on a life planet. If the number of spirit-nurturing cultivators on a planet did not exceed 10, it was a level 1 life planet. If there were more than 10 spirit-nurturing cultivators under natural conditions, it was a level 2 life planet. By analogy, if there were more than 10 golden core cultivators, it was a level 3 life planet. According to this standard, Earth's current level was a level 3 life planet. However, Jiang Xi was very clear that Earth was not that simple. Jade Lake Secret Realm, Fengju Secret Realm, Yi Mountain Secret Realm, and so on. Those mythical places hid countless secrets. In terms of value, perhaps Earth could be ranked at the top of the entire Blue Star region. Therefore, Earth must not be discovered by other planet. After leaving the slave trading market, Shen Wansi suggested again, Jiang Ji, why don't you go and see the scenery again? Jiang Ci smiled naturally and said, I suddenly remembered that I have something to deal with. I need to go to another planet first. Shen Wansi was stunned for a moment and sighed, that's a pity. I still want to take Jiang Ji to see the most beautiful scenery of Blue Star. Next time you come, you must contact me. He did not dare to ask, nor did he dare to guess whether Jiang Ci was all right or not. In any case, he did not want to continue shopping. That's not a problem. Jiang Ci nodded. They had already exchanged communication marks, so they could contact each other through the communication bead next time. Then, Shen Wansi personally sent Jiang Ci to the teleportation hall of Linhai City. As soon as the two of them entered, a cold young man wearing a black spiritual armor walked towards them. Behind the young man was the guard captain, Gong Shi, who bowed 90 degrees. Sir, please take care. Gong Shi smiled from ear to ear. The young man did not have any expression. When he passed by Jiang Ci, he took a few more glances. His eyes were extremely sharp, as if he could see through Jiang Ci. At this time, Shen Wansi was also very respectful, even if the young man did not look at him at all. Jiang Ci understood why the two of them were so humble. Nascent Soul Stage. Chapter 235. This was the second time Jiang Ci had seen a nascent soul cultivator since the Fengju mystic realm. Very strong. Jiang Ci watched the other party leave. Although his expression was calm, his heart was filled with fear. With his current strength, he was not confident of winning against a nascent soul cultivator. Cultivators who could cultivate to the nascent soul stage had basically comprehended one or more Dao intents. Those with high comprehension could even comprehend a deeper level of Dao domain. Their combat strength was 10 times or even 100 times stronger than a golden core cultivator. Jiang Ci looked at the experience panel. Cultivation, Golden Core, Late Stage 9400-039, 7500, Dao Technique, Gale Intent, 500 000 500 000, Sword Intent, 1 000 000 1 000 000, Amplitude, 20 Deduction, 10,000 experience points per time. Cultivation Technique, Purple Firmament Sword Manual, Peacock Visualization Experience Points, 20. 8 million. Both Dao intents were already perfected. Only his cultivation was still far from the perfected late-stage golden core stage. If I meet an early-stage nascent soul cultivator who has comprehended one Dao intent, I can still fight. Any more and I won't be able to do it. Jiang Ci looked at the back of the cold youth again. This person's cultivation exceeded early-stage nascent soul, so he must have comprehended more than one Dao intent. I'm no match for him. If this person is a little stronger and has comprehended a Dao domain, then he'll be even more powerful. The universe is vast and there are countless geniuses. Master didn't lie to me. On Earth, he had already reached the peak. But in the universe, he was still very weak. His name is Feng Sai, one of the best nascent soul disciples in the Zhangyun sect. It's said that he has only cultivated for 300 years and has already comprehended a Dao domain. He's very powerful. Shen Wansi waited until the cold youth was far away before he dared to speak and told Jiang Ci about the youth's identity. Jiang Ci nodded lightly, feeling surprised and helpless. Surprised that this person had indeed comprehended a Dao domain. The next level after true Dao intent was Dao domain. What made him helpless was that in this half a year, he had spent tens of millions of experience points and deduced thousands of times, but he still couldn't deduce the next level of Gale intent and Sword intent. Jiang Ci decided that when he returned this time, he had to work harder and concentrate on cultivating so that he could succeed in his deduction. Not far away, Gong Shi had already seen Jiang Ci. When he walked over, he happened to hear Shen Wansi's words. He first bowed respectfully to Jiang Ci, then smiled and said, Lord Feng Sai is a genius that is hard to come by in 1,000 years in our Zhangyun sect. According to our sect master, Lord Feng Sai will definitely be able to cultivate the primordial spirit within 1,000 years. His tone was filled with pride, as if he could cultivate the primordial spirit himself. Cough cough, old Gong, young Master Jiang Ci isn't bad either, Shen Wansi quickly interrupted. He was worried that Gongsha's words would make Jiang Ci unhappy. Heroes attract, but geniuses repel. Especially since Jiang Ci was born with a noble background, he might not like cultivators who were more talented than him. Haha, yes, Lord Jiang Ci is also a genius that is hard to come by. Gongsha reacted and quickly laughed. Jiang Ci, the cultural difference was obvious. It could be seen that Shen Wansi and Gongsha had known each other for a long time, and their relationship should be good. However, the way they addressed each other was very offensive. I have something to do, so I have to leave Kanglan planet first, Jiang Ci said to Gongsha. Sir, please follow me. Gongsha brought Jiang Ci and Shen Wansi to the interstellar teleportation array in the depths of the teleportation hall. Jiang Ji, since we've known each other for a long time, I'll pay the teleportation fee for you this time. Shen Wansi smiled. Thank you, but I'll do it myself. The next time I come to Kanglan planet, you can just treat me to the scenery. Jiang Ci politely refused. He didn't like to take advantage of others. The interstellar teleportation fee was 10,000 low-grade spiritual crystals. Shen Wansi's entire wealth was only 200,000. Lord Jiang Ci, let me help you activate the teleportation array. Gongsha was also very enthusiastic. Jiang Ci shook his head and smiled. I've studied teleportation arrays before, so I can operate it myself. The coordinates of the interstellar teleportation array on the first moon could not be exposed, so he could only operate it himself. Then, under the watchful eyes of Shen Wansi and Gongsha, he set the teleportation coordinates on the interstellar teleportation array and activated it with a hand seal. The complicated teleportation pattern appeared again, and Jiang Ci waved at the two of them in a dazzling light before disappearing into the interstellar teleportation array. Shen Wansi and Gongsha both let out a long breath and looked at each other. Then, Gongsha directly went into the interstellar teleportation array and checked it. It's a teleportation mark that has been encrypted by an expert in teleportation arrays. I can't find the coordinates of the other end of the teleportation array. Gongsha shook his head. What a mysterious person. Shen Wansi sighed. Gongsha asked curiously, Xiao Sai, did you find out where Lord Jiang Ci came from? No, I only know that he has a great background and is very rich. He took out a fist-sized rock like it's a toy, and he even has a butterfly girl at home. Shen Wansi told him what had happened at the planet Kangyun and the slave market. Gongsha was shocked. In the solar system, the interstellar teleportation array on the dark side of the first moon appeared. After the Heaven and Earth Spirit Lock array was unlocked, the Heaven and Earth Spirit Chi on the first moon gradually recovered. The surrounding Heaven and Earth Spirit Chi gathered and provided sufficient energy for the operation of the interstellar teleportation array. Jiang Ci's figure appeared in the interstellar teleportation array again. Interstellar half-day tour. Looking at the desolate environment on the moon, Jiang Ci let out a long breath. He was finally home. Then, he swept up the wind and sand and buried the interstellar teleportation array again. Fortunately, Master added a personal mark to this interstellar teleportation array. Cultivators from other planets cannot be teleported here. In this way, the possibility of Earth being discovered by the outside world is very small. This time, Jiang Ci not only saw the prosperous side of the starry sky, but also saw the cruel side. The tragic experience of the cat female planet raised his sense of urgency and vigilance to the highest. He could not relax just because he had reached the peak of Earth. He had to work hard to improve his cultivation. Then, Jiang Ci flew to the dilapidated Guanghan Palace and returned to Earth through the teleportation array there. Pak Sn Province, Villa 92 in Tongtian District. Jiang Ci had just returned when he saw Jiang Dudu standing guard beside the teleportation formation. A smile appeared on his face. The heavy mood he had brought back from planet Kanglan instantly dissipated. As an adult, he had to be able to control his emotions and not bring a bad mood home. Brother, where's the gift? Jiang Dudu stretched out her hand and asked with a smile. The little girl's heart was completely at ease. Here, a specialty of planet Kanglan. Jiang Ci flipped his hand and took out an exquisite storage ring. Unexpectedly, Jiang Dudu's little face turned red. She said angrily, "Brother, I'm not an adult yet. Jiang Ci, I know you're 4 months and 3 days away from 18. Chapter 236. Cough, this is your storage ring. When you reach the spirit gathering stage, you can refine it. Hey, why didn't you say so earlier?" Jiang Dudu snatched the ring. Looking at her happy face, it was obvious that the misunderstanding just now did not affect her at all. Work hard in your cultivation and strive to break through to the spirit gathering stage as soon as possible. Jiang Ci rubbed Jiang Dudu's head. Don't worry, my visualization is only 10% away from completion. Jiang Dudu was full of confidence. Jiang Ci nodded. He was completely assured about Jiang Dudu's talent. After the 4th recovery of spiritual aura, he passed on the skills of peacock visualization and self-visualization to Jiang Dudu. In less than a year, the little girl was almost done. Her visualization speed was only 2 months slower than him. Jiang Dudu not only had outstanding talent in cultivation, but also her comprehension was first class. After that, he did not do anything. After all, a normal person's life was still necessary. In the evening, taking advantage of the night, Jiang Ci accompanied the little girl to practice the art of assassination for half a day. The next day, Jiang Ci sent a message to Xian Tian and Li Baibai respectively, making an appointment to meet in Xian Tian City. After eating breakfast and taking a stroll, he flew to Xian Tian City. At this time, Xian Tian and Li Baibai were already waiting there. Both of them were a little strange. Why did Jiang Ci want to see them at this time? Especially Xian Tian, he just met Jiang Ci yesterday. Jiang Ci took 3 wonderful stones from him. In the past 6 months, this kid has been a little mysterious, and he likes to kill monsters very much. He doesn't even let go of the F-class monsters. The monsters in the wilderness around Pak Sn province are all afraid of him. Xian Tian laughed. Not only Pak Sn province, he also visited the wilderness of Luo City Prefecture many times and killed nearly 1 million monsters. If he continues to kill like this, we will soon be able to completely solve the monster crisis. Li Baibai said. Big brother, sister Baibai, the monster crisis is not so easy to solve. The monsters on land are easy to kill, but the monsters in the sea are not. Jiang Ci's voice came from outside, and then he appeared in front of the two. His words made Xian Tian and Li Baibai stunned. Indeed, their strength is very strong on land, but in the sea, it's hard to say. Moreover, there were more monsters in the sea than on land. There were at least 100 times more of them. With such a large base, who knows how many golden core monsters there are? The 3 of them did not dwell on the monster problem, because they knew that it was not realistic to solve the monster crisis on Earth at this stage. They could consider solving the problem on land, but this was not the purpose of Jiang Ci today. Tell us, why are you looking for us today? Why are you being so mysterious? Xian Tian laughed. Li Baibai also looked at Jiang Ci curiously. Jiang Ci's expression became serious, and he said in a deep voice, I left Earth yesterday and went to another planet with life. What? Xian Tian and Li Baibai were so shocked that they stood up and looked at each other. However, the 2 of them were originally the first and second strongest on Earth, so they had strong mental fortitude. They quickly calmed down and asked, went to another planet with life? How did he go to other planets with life? What do the aliens look like? Are they powerful? The last question was obviously asked by Xian Tian. Jiang Ci said, you should remember that I once trained at Jade Lake's Heaven Tower for more than a year. There, I learned about the teleportation portal and found out that the first moon has an interstellar teleportation portal to other planet. He had concealed this point and lied that he had obtained it from the Heavenly Tower. He did not reveal any information about Daoist GE. Anyway, other than him, no one else could see Ni Shong, so they did not know whether it was true or not. Xian Tian nodded and said, actually, Baibai and I found some clues in some arcane realms. Earth might have been related to aliens in the past, but we did not find any concrete evidence. I didn't expect you to find it first. Tell us, where did you go? What's the situation on other planets? Li Baibai urged. After that, Jiang Xi told them what he saw on planet Kanglan. At the end of his narration, he said solemnly, Big brother, sister Baibai, we are the 3 strongest people on Earth now. We have to become stronger. If the starry sky wanderers discover Earth, our situation may be worse than the feline lady planet. Shen Tian and Li Baibai were silent. After a long time, the two of them let out a long sigh. Planet Kanglan is just a guard team, but it's comparable to the top forces on Earth. Planet Kanglan, which is similar to Earth in terms of strength, has become a breeding base for slave traders. Hearing the two of them sighing, Jiang Xi's heart was also very heavy. He had thought long and hard before telling Shen Tian and Li Baibai about this matter. It was still too weak to rely on his own strength to protect the Earth. If he did not count his existence, Shen Tian and Li Baibai were actually the real geniuses of the Spirit Qi revival era. Their talent and comprehension were top geniuses even in the universe. It was the best choice to work with the two of them to protect Earth. However, Jiang Xi understood that his words should be a big blow to Shen Tian and Li Baibai. They suddenly realized that the world was so big, and there were countless existences stronger than them. This contrast would make anyone uncomfortable, right? However, the next moment, Jiang Xi was stunned. Such a starry sky is really exciting. Li Baibai, who had always been calm, could not suppress the excitement in her heart at this time. Jiang Xi, you sneaked to an alien planet by yourself. You didn't even bring us along for such an exciting event. Shen Tian was even more furious as he glared at him. Big brother, sister Baibai, you guys. Jiang Xi was really dumbfounded. The reactions of these two people were not what he had imagined. Haha, do you think our worldview will be shocked and we will be so scared that we will doubt life? Shen Tian laughed. Actually, Big brother and I have been bored to death. Before the 4th Spirit Qi revival, those old guys on Earth were hiding and we couldn't find any opponents at all. Li Baibai explained with a smile. Yeah, this situation has been going on for 30 or 40 years. It wasn't until some time ago in the holy city of the West that I finally had a good fight and satisfied my craving, Shen Tian said again. Jiang Xi, he finally understood that these two were fighting maniacs. Even Li Baibai, who was calm on the surface, had a fighting passion. Aren't you worried at all? If Earth is discovered by the Star Hunters? Jiang Xi asked. Jiang Xi, let's not give up eating for fear of choking. Instead of worrying about these uncertain things, it's better to think about how to improve your strength. Thinking about it will only increase your worries and affect your usual cultivation. Li Baibai shook her head and chuckled. Chapter 237. Don't give up eating for fear of choking. Jiang Xi suddenly realized that what he said made sense. Shen Tian also laughed. What are you afraid of? Earth is not the feline girl planet. There are many secrets on our planet. Think about it, how long did it take for the 3 of us to cultivate from ordinary people to the golden core stage? I spent 60 years and 50 years in vain, and you? Forget it. Let's not talk about it. Jiang Xi smiled. He understood what Shen Tian meant. Not to mention his existence as a cheat, Shen Tian and Li Baibai's cultivation speed was definitely at the level of geniuses. In the universe, cultivators who reached the golden core stage within 100 years could be called geniuses. Because under normal circumstances, it would take 200 or 300 years to cultivate to the golden core stage. Moreover, Earth's secrets were not limited to that. After several revivals of Spirit Qi, the cultivators and monsters on Earth had improved as a whole. This was not seen on other planets. Earth was not simple. So, just cultivate well. Maybe in the future, when the starry sky wanderers really find Earth, we will already be in the nascent soul stage or even the nascent soul stage. We can kill them with a slap. Shen Tian patted Jiang Xi's shoulder earnestly. Jiang Xi, at this point, his heart was completely at ease. Indeed, as Shen Tian and Li Baibai said, Earth was not the feline girl planet. There were so many secrets that were the foundation and backing of their growth. Moreover, He had the experience value panel. Sooner or later, he would be promoted to a higher realm. As long as he was strong enough, what was there to be afraid of? Xian Tian waited for a long time. Seeing that Jiang Xi did not respond, he took the initiative to urge, "Hurry up, what are you waiting for? Didn't you say you brought us gifts?" Li Bai also chuckled. Jiang Xi smiled and gave the two of them the storage rings he had prepared. The storage ring he had brought back from planet Grey Cloud was naturally not as big as the storage ring Daoist Ge had left for him. However, in the eyes of Xian Tian and Li Bai, no matter how small it was still a rare item. They had been thinking for a long time about the storage Dharma treasure that cultivators needed. As expected of our good little brother, the two of them did not hesitate to decline. They were both adults, and with their relationship, there was no need for such a hypocritical gesture. Just like when Jiang Xi came to Xian Tian yesterday to ask for something, Xian Tian directly gave him 3 stones the size of a stone pear. With so many magical stones, it was enough to buy 100 level 1 life planets. Therefore, Jiang Xi felt apologetic and said, "Big brother, big sister bye-bye, I also obtained other inheritances in the Jade Lake's heaven-reaching tower. I can share them with you. You won't be affected if you share it with us, right?" Although the two of them were tempted, they still considered Jiang Xi first. Jiang Xi chuckled. It doesn't matter. He decided to choose 2 complete inheritances from Daoist Ge's inheritance memories and pass them to Xian Tian and Li Bai. Of course, these 2 inheritances were not as precious as the Purple Firmament Sword Sutra, but they were still powerful inheritances that Daoist Ge had collected in his long cultivation career. After all, anything that could be left in the inheritance memories of a Dao integration stage powerhouse would definitely not be bad. Xian Tian and Li Bai were overjoyed. With these inheritances, their cultivation would have a basic direction. They would no longer need to fumble around and would improve faster in the future. After returning from Xian Tian City, Jiang Xi entered seclusion again. Of course, his seclusion was still different from others. With the experience points panel, everything became very simple. Gain experience points, improve cultivation, deduce Dao techniques. The process was just these 3. The only thing that limited his improvement speed was spirit chi energy. Now, this limitation was also gone. The spiritual fruits he brought back from planet Kanglan were enough for him to use for a long time. Thus, Jiang Xi ate 4,000-year-old spiritual fruits first. With the help of the huge amount of spirit chi energy, he maxed out the experience points of the late-stage Golden Core stage and touched the final bottleneck of the Golden Core stage. The next step is to find a way to break through to the nascent soul stage. Jiang Xi had already memorized the nascent soul stage method in the Purple Firmament Sword Sutra. The nascent soul stage required the cultivator to have a preliminary understanding of the Tao of heaven and earth and comprehend the true meaning of Tao. Then, the power of Tao would be used to nurture the Golden Core and finally the nascent soul. Therefore, from this point of view, cultivators who could cultivate to the nascent soul stage had at least comprehended one true meaning of Tao. It's easy to say, but difficult to do. More than 90% of the cultivators in the universe are stuck at the late-stage Golden Core stage and can't break through to the nascent soul stage because their comprehension is too poor and they can't comprehend the true meaning of Tao. For example, Shen Wanxi, Gong Shu, and manager Zhuo, whom he met on planet Kanglan, were all at the late-stage Golden Core stage. They had been cultivating for more than 200 years, but they were stuck at this stage. Jiang Xi had secretly observed the 3 of them before. They didn't have any Daoist rhyme on them. Obviously, they hadn't comprehended the true meaning of Tao. I have already comprehended 2 complete true meanings of Tao. Nurturing the Golden Core is a piece of cake for me. Jiang Xi was full of confidence. Breaking through to the nascent soul stage was a piece of cake for him. Then, he started to use the yin-yang nurturing method recorded in the Purple Firmament Sword Sutra to manipulate the 2 true meanings of Tao and nurture the Golden Core. The true meaning of Gale and the true meaning of Sword, one is soft and the other is hard. It fits perfectly with the yin-yang nurturing method recorded in the Purple Firmament Sword Sutra. After trying for half a month, Jiang Xi successfully condensed a Gale and a Sword shadow in his lower dantian and circled around the Golden Core. The gale and the sword shadow gave off an inexplicable daoist rhyme, causing the golden core to start to change. It was as if a new life was being nurtured. At this rate, it'll take about 10 years for it to be completed. River Word furrowed his brows slightly before relaxing them. It was already very fast to be able to form the nascent soul in just 10 years. In the universe, cultivators who had the ability to form the golden core into the nascent soul would take more than 100 years just to complete the nurturing stage. Some people who did not have enough lifespan would not even be able to complete the nurturing process until they died. It was very tragic. Only the top geniuses had the ability to complete the nurturing process within 100 years. I'll just nurture it myself like this. I'll focus on deriving Tao techniques for the rest of the time. Jiang Xi had a clear plan in mind. Using the experience points panel to derive Tao techniques required 10,000 experience points each time. He looked at his experience points balance. Sad smiley experience points, 28 million. These experience points were enough for him to derive 2,000 times. However, he could not just sit around and do nothing. Therefore, he was prepared to go to the wilderness to hunt monsters and harvest experience points every once in a while. He had to ensure that his experience points balance was sufficient. After all, other planets might not have an environment like Earth with so many monsters. Other than deriving Tao techniques, Jiang Xi did not forget to continue to organize and comprehend Daoist Ge's inherited memories. As his cultivation base improved, he could already practice some of the miscellaneous skills and secret arts. For example, the soul-searching technique, the spiritual sense restriction, and so on. Just like that, although the strength data on the panel had temporarily stagnated with the bottleneck of the golden core stage. However, the increase in his strength did not stop. Just like that, another month passed. Chapter 238. Solar System, Mars. A flying ship shuttled through space and silently appeared in the starry sky outside Mars. Then, it began to land on the surface of the planet. On the deck of the flying ship, Hu Yang, Chu Ziyi, and Qiu Hong were carefully observing the environment of Mars. Captain, the cosmic energy and gravity of this planet are close to the standard of a life planet. Qiu Hong's voice was filled with excitement. Her temperament was slightly feminine and she was extremely beautiful. It's just a little dead, like an abandoned life planet, Chu Ziyi said. Let's go down and take a look first. Hu Yang frowned. They had already been exploring this desolate galaxy for 2 months, but they had yet to discover a true life-bearing planet. The flying ship quickly landed on Mars. The three of them took out the astrolabe and quickly scanned it, collecting all kinds of data on this planet. Soon, they returned to the flying ship in disappointment. This planet is indeed abandoned. There are only some ancient ruins that we can't even tell how old they are. Chu Ziyi and Qiu Hong's faces were filled with pity. The spiritual energy has dissipated, and it's no longer suitable for life. Hu Yang shook his head. Even if life had existed here a long time ago, its current state could no longer be defined as a life planet. Therefore, this planet had no value to them. But this is also considered good news. Since this planet once had a civilization, it means that there might be other life planets in this desolate galaxy, Hu Yang said with a smile. Chu Ziyi and Qiu Hong were also aware of this point. Their eyes were filled with anticipation. The flying ship set sail again and shuttled toward the next planet. Each time it shuttled, it could cross 100,000 kilometers. With the distance between Mars and Earth, they could reach the starry sky near Earth in less than an hour. Because there was no imprint of the Tao Alliance's Eye of Heaven, the astrolabe could not be used for navigation. When the three of them shuttled, they were very careful, worried that they would barge into some dangerous place. After another round of shuttling, the flying ship did not continue shuttling. Instead, it stopped in the void. Because they saw a blue planet. Even from thousands of miles away, they could vaguely feel the spiritual energy emitted by that planet. They were overjoyed and excited. Captain, this is definitely a life planet, and it's not just a grade 1. It might be a grade 2 life planet. A grade 2 life planet is worth at least 10 million low-grade spirit crystals. Captain, we've really struck gold. Chu Ziyi and Qiu Hong's excitement was expressed on their faces. They couldn't wait to rush into that azure blue planet and announce themselves as the planet's overlords. Hu Yang was a cautious person in his bones. Every time he reached a critical moment, he would be able to regain his composure. This was also the reason why they could break through the chaotic star belt of the pale blue star region. He took a deep breath and glanced at the Earth and the 2 moons that were orbiting it at the same time. 2 moons. This is a blessed land. The value of this planet might exceed 100 million lower spiritual crystals. 100 million. Chu Ziyi and Qiu Hong looked at each other excitedly. Captain, let's go in quickly. With the strength of the 3 of us, as long as it's not a life planet of level 3 or above, we can sweep through everything. Hu Yang smiled and controlled the flying ship to fly towards Earth. The closer they got to Earth, the more they felt that this planet was not simple, and the excitement in their hearts grew. Because the planet of life was right in front of them, the 3 of them ignored the exploration of the moon and headed straight for Earth. Soon, the flying ship arrived at the outer space of Earth. The strange thing was that the satellites of the 5 major powers in space were like decorations. They did not notice the arrival of the airship at all. Such low-level technology. It seems that this is really a barren planet. Qiu Hong sneered. The flying ship they were driving had a formation enchantment engraved inside, which could easily block the detection of these satellites. Hu Yang and Chu Ziyi also laughed. Generally, a powerful life planet of level 3 or above would have a large defensive formation enchantment. It was impossible for a flying ship like theirs to approach quietly. They had to pass through the enchantment channel to truly enter. Since there's a satellite network, it's much more convenient to investigate. RZE, it's up to you. Hu Yang said with a smile. With satellite technology, it proved that the communication of information was not blocked. They could easily obtain a lot of information about this planet through the satellite. Chu Ziyi grinned, took out his astrolabe, and continuously made hand seals to operate it. The astrolabe immediately projected a starry sky phantom, and in an instant, it was forcefully connected to a nearby satellite. As long as it was information that had appeared on the Earth's network, it would all appear in this starry sky phantom. This was the crushing of civilization. The network firewalls of the various countries on Earth were simply vulnerable. RZE, let's take a look at the situation of the cultivators on this planet, Hu Yang said. Chu Ziyi nodded and began to search. This planet is called Earth. The history of civilization recorded in writing is less than 6,000 years old. What trash. After another 2 to 3 breaths, he suddenly said in surprise, there are no nascent soul cultivators on this planet. The highest cultivation is only at the late stage of golden core. As for the number of golden core cultivators, he did not continue to search. As long as there were no nascent soul cultivators, because Hu Yang's combat strength was comparable to a nascent soul cultivator, he could sweep away any existence below the nascent soul stage. This is a level 3 life planet. It's worth at least 100 million. Qiu Hong was very excited. Captain, this is a desolate planet. Let me take action directly. I guarantee that I will capture all the cultivators above the golden core stage in an hour. Chu Ziyi volunteered. He was also at the late stage of golden core stage, but as a space hunter who walked on the edge of life and death, he had rich combat experience. Moreover, he had just comprehended a true meaning of Tao. As long as he did not encounter a nascent soul cultivator, he was confident that he could defeat his opponent. Hu Yang shook his head. We still have to be cautious. The first rule of us hunters is to be cautious. Any planet could have fatal dangers. Let's see if there is any other important information on this planet. Although Chu Ziyi was impulsive, he also understood that Hu Yang's words made sense. He continued to search for other information. Strange. In the past 100 years, there have been 4 spirit chi recoveries here. This has never been seen on other life planets. There are a lot of wild animals called monsters on this planet. Their numbers are actually more than the human race. This is a disgrace to the human race. Captain, look at what this is. There are actually demons on this planet. Chu Ziyi suddenly exclaimed. From the astrolabe phantom, He waved his hand and called up a virtual video that was being played. It was the live broadcast video of Dragon Python and Black Tortoise testifying for Jiang Ci and the other two. Dragon Python, Black Tortoise. This is the top bloodline of the demon race. I didn't expect that this desolate planet still has it. Hu Yang could not maintain his composure at this moment. His expression changed drastically. Chapter 239. There were countless races in the universe. The human race, the demon race, and the ghost race were the top races. Naturally, they were hostile to each other and fought against each other. The human race had occupied the 9 major galaxies with their powerful strength and had killed all the demon and ghost races there. Therefore, there were no demon races in the 9 major galaxies of the Taoist Alliance. Only in some powerful immortal Tao sects or ancient families could they occasionally be seen. These ancient inheritances liked to use demons as servants, such as pulling carriages or guarding doors. The dragon python is rumored to have the bloodline of the winged dragon. Those ancient inheritances will definitely be tempted. Although this dragon python is only at the golden core stage, if it is auctioned, it will definitely be sold for a few million, if not 10 million. The black tortoise is not bad either. This bloodline is very rare even in the demon race's galaxy. Hu Yang's eyes lit up. This time, they had really found a treasure. They had actually encountered 2 top bloodlines of the demon race on a 3rd-grade life planet. At the same time, he was also puzzled. Was the history of the civilization on this planet really less than 6,000 years old? Continue to search and see if there is any other secret information. Hu Yang remained calm. Chu Ziyi was the only one in the team who had studied technology. He used the astrolabe to search quickly. Compared to the Eye of Heaven, which was the pinnacle of the Taoist Alliance's technological civilization, Earth's technology was too primitive. The Eye of Heaven covered the entire universe. Through the astrolabe and communication beads, one could establish contact with the Eye of Heaven. Chu Ziyi searched for a while more, and his frown deepened. Finally, he said with a shocked expression, "Captain, there is a Grotto Heaven secret realm on this planet." Grotto Heaven secret realm. Hu Yang and Qiu Hong's expressions changed drastically. That was a powerful technique. Normally, only those who had comprehended the space Tao of the Heaven and Earth Tao had the strength to open up a Grotto Heaven secret realm. Such a powerhouse was at least at the nascent soul stage. And there is more than one. There are more than 10 Grotto Heaven secret realms. Chu Ziyi felt his throat go dry. For a nascent soul stage cultivator, opening up a Grotto Heaven secret realm with a radius of 100 miles was already the limit. If there were 10 Grotto Heaven secret realms, then there were 10 nascent soul stage cultivators. They still did not know how big these Grotto Heaven secret realms were. Or was it an existence with an even higher cultivation? No matter how calm Hu Yang was now, his face was filled with disbelief. He continued asking, "Do these Grotto Heaven's secret realms still have Tao orthodoxies?" The specific situation of these Grotto Heavens should have been deliberately concealed by the natives of this planet. However, we can be sure that these Grotto Heavens are in an abandoned state, Chu Ziyi replied. Abandoned? That's right. If the expert who opened the Grotto Heaven secret realm was still here, we wouldn't have been able to approach this planet so quietly. Just now, when we were 10,000 miles away, they could have killed us. Hu Yang exhaled, trying to calm the shock in his heart. Then, he speculated, I think we might have encountered the ruins of a civilization. There used to be a powerful civilization on this planet, and the current civilization was built on an ancient ruin. Chu Ziyi and Qiu Hong nodded in agreement. Captain, this just shows that the value of this planet is higher than we thought. The excitement of the 3 could no longer be described with words. They couldn't wait to rush into the planet and plunder everything inside. This was a wild planet that hid a great deal of value, and the strongest cultivator was only at the late Golden Core realm. Such a lucky chance was simply given away for free. Now, Hu Yang took a deep breath and prepared to control the flying ship to land on the surface of the planet. At this moment, he frowned and took out his communication pearl. He saw that the rune mark on the communication pearl was glowing. Someone was sending him a message. The heavenly eye of the Taoist alliance covered the entire universe. As long as the communication pearl's grade was high enough, it could be used to send messages no matter how remote the place was. It's a message from the sect. Seeing that we have broken through the chaotic star belt, they want to come and pick the fruits of our labor. Hu Yang's face turned cold. In the past 2 months, the news of their team breaking through the chaotic star belt had spread among the wanderers in the pale blue star region. Then, he asked Chu Ziyi and Qiu Hong to wait on the deck of the flying ship while he walked into the flying ship's cultivation cabin. Chu Ziyi and Qiu Hong looked at each other. While they were worried, their faces were a little ugly. The 3 of them came from the same immortal Dao sect. Qing Shen sect. Qing Shen sect was one of the top 10 immortal Dao sects in the pale blue star region. As the number 1 genius of the sect, Hu Yang should have enjoyed the best cultivation environment and resources in Qing Shen sect. Now, he had become a starry sky wanderer who walked the line between life and death all year round. The reason was simple. Hu Yang had been excluded. The Qing Shen sect's disciple whose talent was second only to Hu Yang was the only son of the current sect master. At the same time, he was also the only descendant of Qing Shen sect's old ancestor. The existence of this relationship made Hu Yang's position in the sect very awkward. This was because Hu Yang's dream had always been to become the next sect master of Qing Shen sect. In the end, this wish was shattered, and the only son of the sect master was confirmed as the only candidate for the successor. Therefore, Hu Yang left Qing Shen sect in anger and took Chu Ziyi and Qiu Hong to explore the starry sky. Back then, the sect didn't care about brother Hu Yang's feelings, and now they took the initiative to send a message. How shameless! Qiu Hong said disdainfully. Be careful with your words. Chu Ziyi frowned. The flying ship's internal facilities were complete, including a control cabin, a cultivation cabin, and a hibernation cabin. At this time, in the cultivation cabin, Hu Yang held the communication bead with a tense face. After hesitating for a moment, he decided to open the communication bead. After all, he was still a disciple of Qing Shen sect. The sect master of Qing Shen sect was his master. He scanned with his spiritual sense and the communication mark was activated. A phantom that looked exactly like a real person appeared in the cultivation cabin. It was actually a young man, but the vicissitudes in his eyes showed that he had lived for at least 1,000 years. This person was the sect master of Qing Shen sect, Qing Yi. Greetings, master. Hu Yang bowed expressionlessly. Why? Do you still have resentment against me? Qing Yi smiled. I wouldn't dare. If you say you wouldn't dare, then you do. You haven't sent me a message for so many years. Your hard-hearted character hasn't changed at all. No matter how hard I am, I'm not as hard as master. Hu Yang couldn't hold back his resentment. Haha, my disciple knows me best. Qing Yi laughed. Then, he changed the topic and said seriously, Yang come back. I've already asked the old ancestor. As long as you come back, the position of the next sect master will be yours. Hu Yang was moved. To him, Qing Shen sect was his home, and he had a special relationship with it. However, after 100 years of experience as a space hunter, he quickly cast aside the softness in his heart. He became expressionless again and said calmly, You want me to hand over the harvest in the chaotic star belt to the sect? That's right. There's a big secret in the core area of the chaotic star belt that involves a lot of things. With your strength, it'll be a disaster in your hands. Disciple, master won't harm you. This is for your own good. Qing Yi nodded. What big secret? Hu Yang asked. Chapter 240. I don't know about this either. This is what the old ancestor told me. Wait a moment, the old ancestor will come over to discuss this with you in detail. Qing Yi's expression was extremely serious. Hu Yang was slightly stunned. Old ancestor. In the pale blue star region, old ancestor Qing Shen was a famous legendary cultivator. He was born ordinary, but he had made a name for himself in the pale blue star region, where the strong gathered. He had even killed a cultivator in the nascent soul realm with his late-stage nascent soul realm cultivation. The Qing Shen sect he founded eventually became one of the top 10 immortal sects in the pale blue star region. In Hu Yang's heart, old ancestor Qing Xian was his most admired role model. He had left the Qing Xian sect in a fit of anger because he wanted to imitate old ancestor Qing Xian's deeds. Now, the old ancestor was going to meet him in person. Hu Yang immediately became excited. The Qing Xian sect had been established for 2,000 years, but the disciples who had really seen old ancestor Qing Xian could be counted on one hand. In just a moment, another perfected person's phantom appeared beside Qing Yi. It was a 15 or 16-year-old boy who looked younger than Qing Yi and Hu Yang. This person had an ordinary appearance, long red hair, deep eyes, wearing a blood-red spiritual weapon battlesuit, and carrying a long saber on his back. Even through the communication bead, one could feel a strong murderous aura. He was old ancestor Qing Xian, known as the blood disciple in the Pale Blue Star region. Disciple of the Qing Xian sect, Hu Yang, greets the old ancestor. Hu Yang directly knelt on the ground. Get up. Old ancestor Qing Xian's voice gave people a feeling of falling into the netherworld. It was very cold. Tell me in detail the process of you breaking through the chaotic star belt. Old ancestor Qing Xian's words were not to be refuted. It took me 3 years, Hu Yang respectfully recounted the experience of how he broke through the chaotic star belt. In the end, he said, in fact, when I was in the most dangerous area of the chaotic star belt, I almost died. In the end, I relied on luck to pass through and entered a desolate galaxy. Did you find anything else? Old ancestor Qing Xian asked. I found a planet suspected to have a powerful civilization. Then there's no mistake. The planet in the depths of the chaotic star belt must be the one that the Dao Alliance once looked for, the place where the 2 Dao integration powerhouses died. Old ancestor Qing Xian's words were shocking. The information he revealed shocked Hu Yang and Qing Yi. 2 Dao integration stage super mighty figures died on that planet. Why had they never heard of it before? These are things that happened 10,000 years ago. You don't need to know the secrets within. Hu Yang, old ancestor Qing Xian didn't reveal too much. He looked at Hu Yang and said, tell me about the situation of this planet. Hu Yang hurriedly recounted the information he had obtained through the astrolabe. Upon hearing this, Patriarch Qing Xian was visibly moved as well. He was even more certain that this was the planet that the Dao Alliance had been searching for. He had lived for thousands of years and knew many secrets. At this moment, the shock in his heart was much more than Hu Yang and Qing Yi. Qing Xian knew very well that if the outside world knew about this planet of life called Earth, it would definitely cause an uproar. I thought it was just the place where 2 Dao integration stage super mighty figures perished. I didn't expect it to have so many secret. Dragon Python, Black Tortoise, Top Demon Bloodline, more than 10 grotto heavens and secret realms. If I, Qing Xian, obtain this planet, I might have a chance to attain Dao integration. Thinking of this, he asked in a deep voice, Hu Yang, are you willing to hand over this planet to the sect? I am willing. Hu Yang did not hesitate. After knowing the true value of this planet, Hu Yang understood that this planet was no longer something that he could possess with his current strength. Good. Now go and record the original data of this planet in detail with the astrolabe. I will wait for your good news, Qing Xian said. Yes, Master. Hu Yang left with a straight face. When he returned, he was full of smiles. This made Chu Ziyi and Qiu Hong heave a sigh of relief. It seemed that there was a good result. Let's go and descend on this planet. Hu Yang was filled with pride. Just now, old ancestor Qing Xian had personally promised him that when he returned, he would be the successor of the Qing Xian sect leader. What he needed to do now was to use the astrolabe to collect the data and then send it back to the Qing Xian sect. This was because according to the Dao Alliance's decree, if one wanted to apply to become the overlord of a savage planet, one must provide all the original data of the planet. The Dao Alliance only recognized the most original data. Even replicated data was not allowed. Under the scrutiny of the heavenly eye, no one could fake it. The flying ship silently passed through the Earth's atmosphere and stopped above the Pacific Ocean. Hu Yang ordered, go and capture those few golden core cultivators first. Those golden core cultivators will be sold to slave traders for a high price. Of course, compared to the value of this planet, The golden core cultivators were just a small amount of money. The main reason for doing this was to deal with the high-end power of this planet. After that, it would be much more convenient to collect the original data. This was the common method for discovering savage planets. Let's split up. Starting from the early golden core stage, I will deal with the dragon python and the black tortoise. Finally, we will capture the 3 strongest ones. The 3 of them split up and disappeared above the Pacific Ocean. On the other side of the ocean, Dark Shadow Nation, Grand Canyon of Kodo. The natural wonder of the old era had become a sacred place of the Dark Shadow Nation in the new era. This was because this was the place where the Dark Shadow Nation's guardian, Ramsey, lived in seclusion. Ramsey had reached the early Golden Core stage 3 months ago and did not make it to the Holy Alliance's Battle of the Holy City. This made him very happy. Otherwise, he would be the same as those Golden Core cultivators who died in the Holy City. Although the Great Shia Nation is detestable, there are some ancient sayings that make sense. They once said that the path of cultivation is not about who is the most powerful, but who can live longer. I escaped the Holy City's massacre and reached the Golden Core stage. Therefore, I am the strongest cultivator of the 4 great nations aside from the Great Shia Nation. Ramsey faced the moonlight and sat cross-legged on a huge rock in the Grand Canyon of Kodo, cultivating in a very relaxed manner. Suddenly, a cool breeze blew past. Who is it? Ramsey's expression changed greatly. He discovered that a strange youth wearing soft armor had appeared in front of him. This person looked very similar to the people of the Great Shia Nation. When did the Great Shia Nation have another Golden Core cultivator? Ramsey immediately became vigilant. The person who had come was Chu-Zi. After he saw Ramsey's cultivation, he sneered. Your spiritual power is so heterogeneous. You can be considered a Golden Core cultivator? I'm afraid you're not even worth 10,000. Of course, he was speaking in the common language of the Taoist Alliance. Ramsey did not understand. Ramsey was at a loss for a moment, but he sensed hostility. He raised his hand and punched out. Your attacks are too crude. Chu-Zi's face was full of mockery, but his attack was like thunder. A black rope flew out from his hand like lightning and tied Ramsey up. Ramsey fell unconscious and did not have any room to resist. The goods cannot be damaged. Otherwise, the price will be lowered when we sell them. Chu-Zi shook his head. Chapter 241. Yi Mountain Secret Realm in the Great Shia Kingdom. The existence of the dragon python made this place one of the most dangerous places in the Great Shia Kingdom. However, half a year ago, the dragon python and the black tortoise stood up for Jiang Xi and the other 2, which won the favor of the people of the Great Shia Kingdom. So in the past 6 months, they got along quite well, and the pressure on the Yi army was reduced a lot. On this day, the Yi army found that in the Yi Mountain Secret Realm, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled, and cold wind raged. Roar. Finally, there was a powerless roar. Fang Yu, the commander of the Yi army, felt that something was wrong and reported the situation to the higher-ups. No one noticed that only a few minutes later, many lakes on an island not far from the Jiang High Prefecture suddenly froze. A black tortoise fell into a coma and was tied up with a rope and taken away. Similar scenes appeared all over the earth. Over the Pacific Ocean. Inside the flying ship that was enveloped by a formation barrier. In less than an hour, all the Golden Core cultivators and demons on Earth, except for Jiang Xi, Shen Tian, and Li Bai, were captured. Hu Yang and the other 2 were all at the late stage of the Golden Core realm and had rich combat experience. These Golden Core cultivators and demons on Earth were no match for them at all. Although the dragon python and the black tortoise's strength was comparable to the late stage of the Golden Core realm by virtue of their bloodline, their opponent was Hu Yang, whose combat strength was comparable to the nascent Soul realm. Facing Hu Yang, the 2 demons were completely defeated after a few moves. There are only 3 left, 1 for each of us. Hu Yang laughed. Chu-Zi and Qiu Hong also showed a relaxed and confident smile. The process of capture just now also made them really confirm that the natives of this planet were really vulnerable. Without any inheritance, their attack methods were very crude, and some even relied on brute force. Then, the three set off again and flew in 3 directions in the Great Xia Kingdom. 2 moons hung in the sky. Jiang Xi was passing the assassination Dao inheritance from Daoist Ji's inherited memory to Jiang Dudu. The little girl had successfully visualized and condensed her spiritual sense. She had become a spirit accumulation cultivator and could start to officially cultivate when she really entered the sect. Even a late-stage spirit accumulation cultivator would be injured in the face of her assassination. Brother, when are you going to bring me to travel to other planets? After a day of classes, Jiang Dudu excitedly asked this question. Because Jiang Xi had told her that she had to reach the spirit nurturing stage before she could perform interstellar teleportation. I'll bring you there after you've mastered the assassination inheritance. Jiang Xi took on the role of a parent and educated him in a remunerative manner. You didn't keep your word. Jiang Dudu threw a tantrum. Then I'll take you there tomorrow. Yay. Although Jiang Dudu was almost an adult, she would still act like a child in front of Jiang Xi. Only in front of outsiders would he appear more mature. After returning home, Jiang Dudu continued to watch her horror movie while Jiang Xi continued his training in the underground training room. In the past month or so, he had been concentrating on deducing his Dao technique, wanting to advance it to the next level. Between the Gale intent and the Sword intent, the latter was stronger. In terms of difficulty in deducing, the latter was naturally more difficult. Previously, he had deduced both Dao intents and deduced more than 1,000 times. After that, he wanted to focus on the easier one first. Hence, in the past month or so, he had been deducing the Gale intent. I've deduced the Gale intent almost 1,000 times. If I don't break through, Jiang Xi shook his head. He really wanted to scold someone. Next, he deduced again according to the standard of 10 times a day. The result was still a failure. Do I really have to deduce 1,000 times before I can succeed? Then I'll put in a lot of effort today and do 1,000 times. He carefully recalled and calculated. The total number of deductions for the Gale intent had already reached 910 times. Use the Gale intent to deduce once. Deduction failed. Use the Gale intent to deduce once. Deduction failed. He repeated this 89 times until the 90th time. Deduction failed. Jiang Xi's face was a little dark, but he understood that although the success rate of deduction was related to the completeness of the Dao technique, it also depended on luck. It didn't mean that if the Dao technique was complete, it could be deduced in one go. Let's take it slow. It was just like winning a lottery. This was also the reason why he had been deducing 10 times a day. After he was done with the Dao technique, Jiang Xi continued to comprehend Daoist Ji's inherited memories. His comprehension was not bad and he had already grasped the basics of a few mystic techniques. This was also the only improvement he had made in the past month. With these mystic techniques, he had many more tricks up his sleeves and improved his strength. Buzz buzz, his tactical communications watch vibrated. He took a look and saw that it was a call from Huang Kuan. It's so late. Although Jiang Xi was puzzled, he still hurriedly answered. It must be something urgent. Huang Kuan's heavy voice came from the other side of the phone. Jiang Xi, the higher-ups just received news from the Zhenyi army and several reclusive families. The dragon python seems to be in an abnormal situation. Several golden core cultivators of the reclusive families were also attacked and kidnapped. You, be careful. Jiang Xi's expression changed. These were all golden core cultivators. Now on Earth, Jiang Xi was confident that no one except him and the Shen Tian could directly capture these people. Then who could it be? Was there an unknown powerhouse awakening? Suddenly, his heart throbbed. His sharp spirit sense told him that there was danger approaching. He immediately spread out his spirit sense. The next moment, Jiang Xi discovered that a young man wearing a spirit artifact battlesuit appeared in the sky above Tongtian district. Late-stage golden core. Starry Sky Hunter. Jiang Xi instantly recognized this person's identity because there were no spirit chi battlesuits on Earth. Moreover, he felt a strong threat from this person. At the same time, he also realized that the situation Huang Kuan mentioned just now was done by this person. Dudu. Come to the practice room. His first reaction was to ask Dudu to come down. Jiang Dudu's cultivation was already at the spirit nurturing stage. In just a second, she arrived. The little girl's face was full of doubts. The first plan. Jiang Xi didn't talk nonsense. After returning from the blue planet, out of caution, he had imagined all kinds of dangerous situations. Then, he and Jiang Dudu agreed on an escape plan. Jiang Dudu's expression changed. She remembered what Jiang Xi said last time. The first plan was to escape using the teleportation array. The second plan was to escape using the teleportation array. But the second plan was to directly teleport to the first moon, and then through the interstellar teleportation array to other planets with life. She knew the seriousness of the matter and immediately stepped into the teleportation array in the practice room. Jiang Xi made a gesture to activate the teleportation array. "Brother, you should hurry up too." Before Jiang Dudu disappeared, her eyes stared at Jiang Xi. Jiang Xi nodded solemnly. When Jiang Dudu's figure disappeared, he understood that he couldn't escape. The starry sky hunter above was about to make a move. Chapter 242. In the sky above Tongtian district. He found me. Using the teleportation array to escape? Hu Yang was interested. He used his spiritual consciousness to investigate everything that was happening below. He wasn't being arrogant. He just wanted to see how this golden core cultivator called Jiang Xi was different from the natives they caught just now. In the 9 major galaxies of the Dao Alliance, if they met a cultivator who knew teleportation arrays, they would usually treat them with respect. This was because teleportation arrays were very rare and required a lot of inheritance. There were very few cultivators who knew about teleportation arrays. I might be able to get the inheritance of teleportation arrays from him. Hu Yang was looking forward to it. When he saw Jiang Xi sending his family members away using the teleportation array, he made his move. Jiang Xi was his target. He couldn't let him escape. Whoosh! Hu Yang gently struck out with his palm. The temperature of the area immediately dropped. Mid-autumn had just passed, but snowflakes were floating and cold winds were howling. In the blink of an eye, the entire Tongtian district, with Villa number 92 as the center, turned into a world covered in frost. Everything became slow. Whoosh! Suddenly, a figure soared into the sky, turned into a gust of wind, and flashed away in the air. The complete true intent of Dao? Hu Yang was surprised. What he used just now was the frost domain. The Dao domain was a Dao technique of a higher level than the true intent of Dao. He could have the combat power of a nascent soul cultivator with his late-stage golden core cultivation. The main reason was that he had already comprehended 40% of the frost domain. Even a nascent soul cultivator's speed would be affected in his domain. As for a golden core cultivator, just like the dragon python and black tortoise, their speed would be reduced to the point that they wouldn't even have the chance to resist. And now, this late-stage golden core cultivator called River Word was actually able to fly at an extremely fast speed in the frost domain. Hu Yang saw the wind circling Jiang Xi's body. There are only 2 possibilities to get rid of the influence of the frost domain. His strength is far greater than mine, or he has comprehended the complete true intent of Dao. Obviously, he is the latter. Because his frost domain was not complete, he had only comprehended 40% of it. Its power was not at its strongest. Hu Yang knew that Jiang Xi was the number 1 expert among the natives of this planet, but he didn't expect that Jiang Xi could actually reach such a height. This native was not ordinary. Being able to comprehend a complete true Dao insight in an environment like the wilderness, such natural talent and comprehension ability is only a level lower than mine. Hu Yang laughed. This native could be sold for a high price. Then, his figure flashed as he chased after Jiang Xi. This night was destined to be an eventful one. The martial artists in Skycut district looked at the strange weather in shock. Only their area was snowing. The rest of Pak-Sen province was normal. The higher-ups of the martial arts circle in Pak-Sen province knew what was going on. They had all noticed the 2 figures that had flashed across the sky just now. Did Jiang Xi encounter an enemy? Many people began to worry. Jiang Xi was now one of the 3 pillars of the Great Xia Kingdom, and nothing must happen to him. At the same time, about 500 kilometers away from Pakistan province, in the middle of a barren mountain, the teleportation formation that Jiang Xi had set up beforehand lit up. In the next moment, Jiang Dudu's figure appeared in the teleportation formation. Jiang Dudu clenched her fist as she stared at the teleportation formation that had returned to normal. However, after a breath, the teleportation formation remained still. Brother. Jiang Dudu's worry rose to the highest level. She flew to the top of the barren mountain and looked towards the east. With her current strength, she could feel that there were 2 powerful auras approaching the East Sea at an extremely fast speed. One of them was Jiang Xi. Find brother Shen Tian and sister Bai Bai. Jiang Dudu quickly sent a message. Only these 2 people could help Jiang Xi now. She had followed Jiang Xi before and met Shen Tian and Li Bai Bai. She knew the relationship between the 3 of them. Fighting. 2 similar messages were sent back. Jiang Dudu's expression changed. Brother Shen Tian and sister Bai Bai have encountered an enemy too? It was indeed as she thought. At the same time, a huge battle broke out in Shentian City, Luo City Prefecture, and the nearby wilderness area. Jiang Xi flew at an extremely fast speed until he reached the sky above the East Sea. When the interstellar wanderer attacked, he knew that a huge battle was unavoidable. A late-stage golden core cultivator with a path domain. Under the path domain, he did not even have the chance to activate the teleportation formation. He could only fight. However, the battle could not be carried out in Pakistan province. The aftermath of the battle between 2 late-stage golden core cultivators could turn the entire Pakistan province into ruins. That was why he came to the sky above the East Sea, which was far away from the land of the Great Xia Kingdom. Brother and sister Bai Bai are also fighting. There is more than one interstellar wanderer. Jiang Xi's face darkened. He sent a message to Shen Tian and Li Bai Bai, but all he received was fighting. Interstellar wanderers were usually in small teams. Only the powerful ones would travel alone. This person's path domain is not complete. I still have a chance. Since it is unavoidable, then let's fight. Jiang Xi felt that his fighting spirit was starting to boil. He had 2 complete true meaning of Tao, so he might not be weaker than the interstellar wanderer. Behind him, Hu Yang had already caught up. Hu Yang was very surprised because Jiang Xi's speed was beyond his imagination. The true meaning of Tao related to the wind is indeed powerful. Fortunately, I have the frost domain, which can limit the speed. Hu Yang was very confident. The 2 of them faced each other in the sky above the East Sea. You are qualified to know my name. Remember, my name is Hu Yang. Hu Yang was the first to speak. He used a very stiff Great Xia language, which they had learned when they hacked into Earth's network. How did you discover Earth? Jiang Xi asked in a deep voice. This was an important question. You are just a native. You don't need to know. Be smart and let yourself be captured. Save yourself the trouble. Hu Yang grinned. Although he was confident that he could defeat Jiang Xi, it would definitely take some effort. He might even injure Jiang Xi if the goods were injured. He would have to spend money to heal them. What nonsense are you thinking? Jiang Xi flipped his hand and took out the profound condensation sword from his storage ring. Spiritual artifact, storage artifact. Hu Yang was stunned. He didn't understand the meaning of Jiang Xi's words, but Jiang Xi's action of flipping his hand and taking out the sword surprised him. This native actually had a spiritual artifact. After thinking about it, he understood that it must have been left behind by the previous civilization on this planet. Therefore, Hu Yang was even more expectant. After he dealt with Jiang Xi, Chu Ziyi and Qiu Hong dealt with the other 2. They could begin to collect the original data of this planet. At that time, they could also dig up the things left behind by the previous civilization. You have guts. Hu Yang made his move. He directly took out the spiritual artifact rope used to tie people up and attacked Jiang Xi like lightning. Crack! Jiang Xi raised his sword and displayed the complete true meaning of sword. The dense sword shadow condensed into a thin layer and covered the sword, emitting a powerful Tao rhyme. With just a sweep, the spiritual artifact rope was cut into two. Chapter 243. What? Hu Yang was shocked. The spirit binding rope that was effective against indigenous cultivators was actually cut in half by a sword. His spirit binding rope was a low-grade spirit artifact, and it was effective against indigenous cultivators. I told you. Are you dreaming? Jiang Xi sneered. He could feel Hu Yang's condescending attitude. Did he really think of him as an indigenous cultivator? Who was he looking down on? Hu Yang's expression was grave. He was going to be serious. His surprise was not only because of the broken spirit binding rope. It was also because of the sword intent that Jiang Xi had displayed just now. That was the pinnacle of Tao intent. It was also complete. This indigenous cultivator's strength had greatly exceeded his expectations, comprehending two complete Tao intents at the late-stage Golden Core realm. This kind of talent is not much different from mine. If he was born on another planet of the Tao Alliance, he could definitely easily join a powerful immortal Tao sect like the Tsungyun sect. Hu Yang knew that it was impossible to capture this indigenous cultivator in one piece. Frost domain. With a thought, an invisible Tao aura descended and immediately spread out. The temperature of this world plummeted, and frost and snow fell. In this domain, one's speed would be severely affected. However, Jiang Xi had already made his move a moment ago. Swoosh. The sword shadow was accompanied by a gust of wind, cutting open the frost domain and suddenly piercing towards Hu Yang. Before it even got close, its speed was restricted by the frost domain and reduced by a lot. This was different from the feeling in Tongtian district just now. Previously, he was at the edge of the domain, and now he was at the place where the frost domain was the strongest, and he was affected the most. Under my frost domain, even an early-stage nascent soul cultivator's speed will be affected. Your struggle is futile. Hu Yang chuckled, and with confidence, he struck out a palm at the same time. The frost palm directly hit Jiang Xi's sword shadow. The collision produced a huge power that swept through heaven and earth. Boom! Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in this sea area, rolling up stormy waves. Those waves that were nearly 100 meters high were frozen in the air by the frost before they fell, forming an ice wonder. Very strong. If this goes on, I will definitely lose. I have to think of something. Jiang Xi felt the chill in the air, and his heart sank. With his two true intents of Tao, he was confident that he could fight against an early-stage nascent soul cultivator. But this Hu Yang before his eyes, his combat strength had clearly reached middle-stage nascent soul. He would definitely lose if the battle dragged on. Boom! In the frost domain, Hu Yang's strength was at its strongest. Tyrannical fist and palm prints attacked Jiang Xi. The frozen waves on the surface of the sea exploded under the pressure of this aura. Jiang Xi brandished his sword to meet the attack, relying on the speed of the gale to contend with it. At the same time, he remained calm. His mind raced as he considered how to deal with the current situation. So we can only rely on luck. Jiang Xi sighed in his heart. He quickly went through the methods he currently possessed in his mind. In the end, he realized that he still had to return to the EXP panel. The only method was to deduce. If he could deduce the next level of the Tao art, his strength would obtain a qualitative improvement. Jiang Xi didn't waste any time and immediately began to deduce. Use the true meaning of gale to deduce once. Deduction failed. Use the true meaning of gale to deduce once. Deduction failed. Compared to the true meaning of sword, the true meaning of gale was even easier to deduce. Jiang Xi retreated and dodged the attacks as he continued to deduce. Almost 10 times per second. Under the night sky, above the East Sea, thunder rumbled and cold wind howled. The powerful aura's aftermath could be felt by the entire coastal area. Hu Yang relied on his crushing strength to control the rhythm of the battle very well. While suppressing Jiang Xi, he also ensured that he wouldn't kill Jiang Xi. If he killed him, it would be a pity. Such a genius, if captured and sold to slave merchants, would be worth at least 1 million low-grade spirit crystals, which was equivalent to a first-grade life planet. It's useless to resist. I won't kill you, and I'll even find you a good family. Hu Yang's frost domain had been suppressing Jiang Ci. If you don't know how to speak, then don't speak. Jiang Ci was furious when he heard this. He waved his hand and slashed out a large sword light. I'm trying to persuade you. Don't regret it. Hu Yang laughed. Jiang Ci ignored him and used the true meaning of gale and true meaning of sword to the extreme. If he didn't have two complete true meaning of Dao, he would have been defeated long ago. Use the true meaning of gale to deduce once. Deduction successful. You have comprehended the gale domain. Experience points plus 1 million. Jiang Ci was stunned. This time, he had only deduced less than 100 times, and he had already succeeded. Boom. A huge palm formed by frost and snowflakes approached. Jiang Ci didn't have time to react. He subconsciously raised his sword. Whoosh. Suddenly, a gale swept across the sky like a ghost's howl. The snowflakes and frost that filled the sky instantly dissipated. Gale domain. What? Hu Yang's face was full of shock. Domain power. This native had actually broken through right in front of him. What kind of terrifying talent was this? This person can't be left alive. Even if he's captured as a slave, he might still be able to cultivate to the primordial soul stage and break through the slave's spiritual consciousness restriction. Hu Yang's killing intent rose. There was a principle in the slave trade that they couldn't capture cultivators with outstanding talent as slaves. Once a slave reached the primordial soul stage, they would have the ability to break through the spiritual consciousness restriction. After a slave broke free from his master's control, it was not uncommon to kill his master and the starry sky hunters who captured him. Previously, when Jiang Ci's talent was weaker than his, he wasn't worried about this. But now, Jiang Ci's talent was obviously more powerful than his. Eliminating the threat was more important than exchanging it for money. Kill. Hu Yang's frost domain suddenly shrank 100 times. The ice and frost only circled within a 10-meter radius around him. At the same time, a layer of frost armor condensed on his body, shining brightly under the moonlight. You're very lucky to be able to see my strongest state. Hu Yang's figure flashed, and he fiercely threw a punch at Jiang Ci. Jiang Ci didn't have time to feel the gale domain that he had just obtained. He could only rely on the relevant comprehension in his mind to defend. Gale shield. Bang. Jiang Ci was directly sent flying by the punch. His body flew back tens of thousands of meters uncontrollably, the intense pain all over his body and the bone-chilling cold transmitted into Jiang Ci's brain nerves. Although it was painful, it made his mind extremely clear and calm. The power of his domain has increased by at least 10 times. Compared to his domain, my domain is much weaker. Fortunately, I had the beast skin of a nascent soul stage demon to help me defend. Otherwise, I would have been dead by now. The clothes on Jiang Ci's body had been damaged under the extreme cold of the frost domain. What was exposed now was the vest and pants that were simply cut from the beast skin of a nascent soul stage demon. Eat the spiritual fruit to increase the experience of the gale domain. With a calm mind, Jiang Ci reacted quickly and made a decision in an instant. Chapter 244. At the same time, Hu Yang was even more shocked. His move just now was his strongest move. It could definitely kill a late-stage golden core in an instant. Even an early-stage nascent soul would be injured. That's the skin of a late-stage nascent soul great demon. He saw the beast skin on Jiang Ci's body clearly. No wonder. Even the skin of a late-stage nascent soul great demon can't offset all of my attack power. With a few more punches, I'll shock you to death. Hu Yang was still very confident. His entire body was covered in frost armor. He was like a god of war under the moon. With a thought, he was about to catch up with Jiang Ci again. At this moment, he saw Jiang Ci take out a 10,000-year-old spiritual fruit and eat it. His body began to expand. Do you want to be a full ghost? The spiritual energy of the 10,000-year-old spiritual fruit can directly explode you. Hu Yang sneered. In the next moment, his smile froze. After Jiang Xi's body expanded several times like a balloon, it returned to normal in less than a breath. At the same time, the gale domain around Jiang Xi's body was obviously strengthened. How is that possible? Hu Yang was dumbfounded. Eating fruits could make one stronger, he had never seen it before. At this time, Jiang Xi ate another 10,000-year-old spiritual fruit. Increase 50,000 gale domain experience point. Increase 50,000 gale domain experience point. In just 1 second, he increased it 5 times before he completely digested all of the spiritual energy. His entire body was dripping with blood. His skin, blood vessels, muscles, bones, and even his internal organs were all torn to varying degrees. The spiritual energy contained in the 10,000-year-old spiritual fruit was indeed not what he could withstand at this stage. If not for the experience points panel digesting it in time, he would definitely explode. This kind of dangerous increase in exchange for a huge gain. Gale domain, 500,005 million, a 10,000-year-old spiritual fruit could provide 250,000 points of spiritual energy. Just 2 fruits allowed the comprehension of the gale domain to reach 10%. Not enough. Continue to increase. Continue to eat. His current domain power was still far from Hu Yang's. Previously, he had brought back 110,000-year-old spiritual fruits from the pale blue planet. I can't let him eat anymore. A bad feeling rose in Hu Yang's heart as he unleashed his frost domain to the extreme. Under the extreme cold, the rolling waves below instantly condensed into ice spears. Spears rained down on Jiang Xi. Die. At this moment, Jiang Xi had finished digesting the third 10,000-year-old spiritual fruit. Gale. The wind was like a shield, and the power of the domain was like a shield, blocking most of the power of the ice spear. The remaining power was neutralized by the nascent soul stage great demonic beast skin. With 2 layers of protection, Jiang Xi could already barely block Hu Yang's attack. Hu Yang was overwhelmed with shock in his heart. Too terrifying. In the short span of a dozen breaths, a native that he had crushed had almost caught up to him in strength. What Jiang Xi had shown was already beyond the early nascent soul stage. Whoosh. He turned into a cold shadow and suddenly arrived in front of Jiang Xi. The fist covered by the frost battle armor smashed onto Jiang Xi's body. Boom. This time, Jiang Xi was only sent flying nearly 1,000 meters and forcefully withstood it. At this time, he had just finished digesting the fourth 10,000-year-old spiritual fruit. 20% gale domain. Impossible. Impossible. No matter how calm and composed Hu Yang was, his heart was also somewhat in a mess. Jiang Xi's speed of improvement made him doubt life. This kind of improvement was simply impossible. Never seen before, never heard of before. Boom. 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 The frost fist seals that constantly blasted out emitted a dazzling brilliance under the moonlight, causing people to be alarmed. But they were all blocked by Jiang Xi's gale domain, and it was getting easier and easier. 5th fruit, 6th fruit. Whoosh. On the profound condensation sword body, the sword true intent condensed into a sword shadow Dao rune. Wrapped in the gale domain, it emitted a shocking power. Jiang Xi swung out a sword and directly scattered Hu Yang's fist seal. This is impossible. What kind of monster is this? Inheritance. He must have obtained the inheritance left behind by a civilization on this planet. Hu Yang's breathing became hurried, he found it hard to believe. In just a few short minutes, this native went from being chased by him to barely blocking his attack, and now easily defeating his attack. He had completed a shocking improvement. Hu Yang's intuition told him that this would be the greatest danger he had encountered in his life as a hunter. If he was not careful, he would be buried on this native planet. Kill. Hu Yang's expression was grave as he tried his best to stabilize his somewhat flustered mind. In an instant, he blasted out hundreds of punches. The power of the frost domain caused this part of the sea to directly condense into ice. Haha, good timing. Jiang Xi's body was covered in blood. Although he looked extremely miserable, his eyes were very bright. He had already completely sorted out the situation in his body. The chaotic spirit energy had returned to normal. The newly obtained gale domain directly spread out. Within the domain, his speed had a qualitative leap. His entire body seemed to be flashing, erratic. Ordinary people's eyesight would not be able to capture his figure. Whoosh! The sword shadow was like a curtain. When the Gale domain counteracted the opponent's Frost domain. At this time, the sword intent revealed its powerful might. In just an instant, it dissolved the fist seals that filled the sky. In terms of attack, saber, sword, and other types of Dao intents were the best. Begin counterattack. Jiang Xi's figure flashed and flickered within the Gale domain. With the support of the domain power, he suddenly appeared in front of Hu Yang. Too fast. Hu Yang was greatly shocked. After he blasted out hundreds of punches, he did not have time to use his next move. Jiang Xi's current speed was the fastest among all the opponents he had encountered. Kai Kai. The sword shadow pierced through space and instantly pierced dozens of holes in Hu Yang's body through the frost armor and spirit armor. The sword intent and the Gale domain power wreaked havoc in Hu Yang's body. Hu Yang's spirit energy immediately went out of control and lost his combat strength. The Gale domain dissipated, leaving only the whistling wind in this world. It's over. Hu Yang had wanted to condense another frost attack, but Jiang Xi's speed was too fast and he could not react in time. As his spirit energy dissipated, a final despair rose in his heart. He had no combat strength now, and Jiang Xi only needed one sword to sever his lifeline. Farewell, Azure Mystic Sect. Hu Yang closed his eyes, his heart filled with bitterness. His body fell uncontrollably onto the surface of the sea that had turned into ice. To be able to comprehend 40% of the Dao domain at the late-stage Golden Core realm, even in the 3 gates and 6 sects of the Dao Alliance, you are a top genius. At this time, Jiang Xi's voice rang in his ears. If you want to kill me, then kill me. Cripple. Hu Yang wanted to die with more dignity. However, he suddenly froze and was at a loss. Because Jiang Xi's words were not in the Great Xia language, but the very authentic common language of the Dao Alliance. How could it be? Wasn't Jiang Xi a native? Moreover, from Jiang Xi's words, this native even knew the core 9 immortal sects of the Dao Alliance, the 3 gates and 6 sect. You are not a native. Who are you? Hu Yang did not want to die without knowing why, so he asked. Who am I? A native of the Great Xia on Earth. Jiang Xi grinned. His face was covered in blood from the rapid improvement just now, making his smile look very sinister, like a demon. Impossible. Hu Yang was furious and humiliated. He was about to die, but this person was still teasing him. If you don't believe me, then forget it. Jiang Xi defeated his opponent and felt relaxed. Then, he struck Hu Yang's head with his palm. Chapter 245. Hu Yang woke up and was at a loss. He should be dead, right? But how could he still have consciousness? Could it be that the legendary underworld really exists? When he was young, he had heard his master say that in ancient times, there was a mysterious underworld in the universe. After any living being died, their soul would return to the underworld and undergo reincarnation to start the next life. Hu Yang sighed in his heart. Forget it, forget it. The next life is also good. This time, he died too sullenly. You're awake? Come, eat this. A familiar voice sounded in Hu Yang's ears. Damn it. It's that native. I'm already dead, but he still won't let me go. But just as this thought appeared, he had a strong favorable impression of this voice. He felt that this voice was very pleasant to the ears, like the sound of an immortal in the mortal world. In the next moment, Hu Yang understood why. He felt somewhat helpless in his heart, but he didn't have any thoughts of resistance. He was under a spiritual sense restriction by Jiang Xi. Greetings, Master. This sea region seemed to have become the north and south poles, forming a thick layer of ice. Hu Yang got up from the ice layer and bowed respectfully to Jiang Xi. At the same time, he was very surprised. Because after a spiritual sense restriction was placed on a slave, they would more or less have resistance and hatred in the depths of their hearts. But in his current state, he only had a favorable impression of Jiang Xi. There was no hatred, anger, unwillingness, or any other negative emotions. Master's spiritual sense restriction is very profound. It seems to be directly used on the soul. It's different from the spiritual sense restriction used by those slave merchants. Hu Yang was even more curious. What was the origin of his master? Not only did his master know the Tao Alliance's 3 sects and 6 sects, but he also knew the most authentic common language of the Tao Alliance. He also knew a few formations and profound spiritual sense restrictions. While Hu Yang was sighing in his heart, Jiang Xi smiled and said again, "Eat this and treat your injuries." He handed over a 1,000-year spiritual fruit. "Thank you, Master." Hu Yang was very respectful. He felt a lot more relieved. His master could give him a 1,000-year spiritual fruit to heal his injuries, indicating that this was a kind-hearted master. Unlike in the universe, many cultivators who bought slaves back would abuse them in every way possible. "No need to call me master. Just call me Lord in the future." "Yes, Lord Jiang Xi." Hu Yang ate the 1,000-year spiritual fruit and began to refine it to recover from his injuries. Jiang Xi took this opportunity to ask with a smile, "Are you still wondering about my origins?" Hu Yang hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "I'm not lying to you. I'm a native of this planet, but my master is from the starry sky. You should understand now." Jiang Xi did not hide this fact. He had already placed a spiritual sense restriction on Hu Yang, so he didn't have to worry that Hu Yang would leak it out. "My lord is indeed powerful. Among all the cultivators I've seen, you're the most talented one. You're not bad either. I don't dare to be mentioned in the same breath as Sir." Jiang Xi smiled and did not continue this one-sided flattery. In the beginning, he planned on killing Hu Yang. However, when Hu Yang lost his ability to fight, he felt that it would be a pity to kill him. Because Hu Yang's talent and comprehension ability were indeed top-notch. He had gained insights into a Tao domain at the late-stage Golden Core realm. Furthermore, his insights had reached 40%. This kind of talent was even stronger than that Tsungyun sect genius Feng Sai that he saw on planet Kanglan the last time. It could be said that as long as there were no mistakes in the future, Hu Yang could easily break through to the Essence Soul realm. Then, Jiang Xi thought of those mystic arts and strange techniques that he had cultivated in the past month or so. He had mastered too, the soul-searching technique and the spiritual sense restriction. Among them, the soul-searching technique was against heaven and earth. After having one's soul searched, even if one did not die, they would become a fool. Therefore, he tested the spiritual sense restriction on Hu Yang. He did not expect that he would succeed on his first try. This spiritual sense restriction was a little thing that Daoist GE meticulously designed after reaching peak Tao integration. Daoist GE was an array formation expert. The array formation restriction that he designed, even if one's cultivation reached Tao integration, they would not be able to undo it. Therefore, Jiang Xi was not worried about Hu Yang's problems after cultivating his essence soul. Of course, even if there were problems, so what? He had the experience points panel. When Hu Yang cultivated to the essence soul realm, who knew what heights he would soar to? The inheritance left behind by Master is indeed magical. Jiang Xi sighed again and bowed 3 times in the direction of the first moon. After dealing with his opponent, he was no longer in a hurry. This was because Shen Tian and Li Baibai had already sent a message that both of them had successfully captured their opponents. The crisis was completely resolved. At the same time, Jiang Xi also reported his safety to Jiang Dudu at the first moment and asked the little girl to go home first. After a while, Hu Yang completely refined the spiritual fruit and his injuries recovered a little. The holes in his body were covered by flesh and blood again. Although his aura was still weak, he did not look so scary anymore. "Where are the cultivators and great demons that you captured?" Jiang Xi asked. "Lord Jiang Xi, please follow me." Hu Yang led the way in front and flew towards the depths of the Pacific Ocean. On the way, Hu Yang could not help but ask, "Lord Jiang Xi, what about my 2 companions?" "Them? Just like you, they were captured by my big brother and second sister," Jiang Xi said with a smile. "Lord, please spare their lives. They were also obeying my orders." Hu Yang pleaded for his companions. "Don't worry, I have my own plans." Jiang Xi nodded. He was quite satisfied with Hu Yang's temperament. He was not like those bloodthirsty starry sky hunters. Hu Yang heaved a sigh of relief. Soon, the two of them arrived above the Pacific Ocean. The flying boat was still there. Formation barrier? Jiang Xi smiled. There seemed to be nothing in front of him, but he had studied formations and noticed the difference. Lord is indeed amazing, Hu Yang praised. Stop flattering me, hurry up and open it, Jiang Xi scolded with a smile. With his current attainments in formations, he could not forcefully open the formation barrier here because his current research was mainly on teleportation formations, not other functional formations. Hu Yang hurriedly formed hand seals. Immediately, spirit chi surged and the barrier opened. A beautiful flying boat appeared out of thin air. Middle-grade spirit artifact flying boat, not bad. Jiang Xi nodded lightly. Thank you for your praise, Lord. I spent all my savings to buy this flying boat before I became a starry sky hunter. The maximum speed of travel can reach 200,000 kilometers per second, Hu Yang replied. Jiang Xi was very satisfied. Now, Hu Yang's was his. The two of them entered the dormant cabin of the flying boat first. The captured golden core cultivators were locked in individual dormant cabins and were in a comatose state. The dragon python and black tortoise were too big and were not here. Jiang Xi glanced around. There were a total of 8 people. 2 of them were middle-stage golden core, and the rest were early-stage golden core. According to their origins, there was 1 each from the Dark Shadow Kingdom, Peacock Kingdom, and Holy Union. The other 5 were golden core cultivators who had awakened from the hidden families of Da Xia Kingdom. The hidden families indeed had a deep foundation. Jiang Xi was expressionless. He was thinking about how to deal with these people. Kill them? Or how? Chapter 246. Sir, do you want to kill all 3 foreign cultivators? Hu Yang saw Jiang Xi's expressionless face and thought that Jiang Xi wanted to kill them. He had read the information on the Earth satellite network before and knew the subtle relationship between the Great Xia Kingdom and other countries. No need. Take them to a nearby island. Jiang Xi shook his head and chuckled. After pondering for a while, he now somewhat understood why Xian Tian had let go of those foreign spirit cultivators in the Jade Pool secret realm. The reason he did this was to find a few opponents for the Great Xia Kingdom to have a sense of presence. It was because of the existence of these foreign cultivators that the warriors in the martial arts world of the Great Xia Kingdom would not slack off. Just like the relationship between monsters and humans on Earth, if it were not for monsters surrounding them, human warriors would not have improved so quickly. Crisis would make people burst out with a strong motivation. In just a moment, Jiang Xi found a beautiful small island. He threw the 8 golden core cultivators who were sleeping on the beach and asked Hu Yang to remove their sleeping restriction. Jiang Xi? When the people woke up and saw the scene in front of them and Jiang Xi's figure, their faces changed drastically. They subconsciously believed that the previous arrest was done by Jiang Xi's men. Because the strange man standing behind Jiang Xi was dressed very similar to the person who captured them. The strange man seemed to be very respectful to Jiang Xi. They wanted to ask Jiang Xi the reason for all this, but they were worried that it would make Jiang Xi unhappy. They were all uneasy. One of the middle-stage golden core cultivators from the reclusive Qin family, who was the Qin family's patriarch, finally mustered up the courage to ask, Jiang Xi, what do you want to do? Looking at the uneasy looks of these golden core cultivators, Jiang Xi felt that it was very funny. However, this was also a very good opportunity to remind everyone of this. Jiang Xi coughed and chuckled, it's nothing. I just want to conduct a drill for the invasion of foreign enemies. Unfortunately, your adaptability is too poor. Drill? Their expressions eased a lot. Old Ancestor Qin smiled bitterly, Jiang Xi, you didn't say anything and suddenly did such a thing. You really scared us. Alas, but this exercise is a good warning. We old guys have been living too comfortably. If we really encounter danger, we'll be in big trouble. The ancestor of the reclusive Shu Jiao also sighed. The others also nodded in agreement. Only the 3 foreign golden core cultivators dared not speak with a gloomy face. They could not understand. Why would Jiang Ci be so kind? Would they come to warn the cultivators outside the Great Xia Kingdom? Of course, there were also people who were curious about the background of the person who had just captured them. Jiang Ci knew what these people were thinking. These 8 people were captured by Hu Yang's 2 companions. However, he did not intend to explain Hu Yang's origin, and it was not easy to explain. According to Jiang Ci's idea, it was enough to keep these people in a state of anxiety. This was because the unknown would give them a huge sense of danger, which would prompt them to improve. And he was standing behind this unknown, staring at these people. Only when everyone became stronger would Earth become stronger. As for the situation outside Earth, he did not intend to announce it for the time being. First, he was afraid of trouble. Second, he was worried that these people would cause trouble if they knew about the situation outside Earth. This would expose him a lot of things. Who knew if there were more powerful old guys in these reclusive families who were sleeping? Unlike Shen Tian and Li Baibai, both of them were ordinary people and did not have to worry about these messy things. That was why he used such a lame lie as a drill to deceive everyone. It turned out that the more powerful a person was, the more likely they were to be convinced by the lies they told. These 8 people believed Jiang Ci's words without a doubt. Well, this drill is over. Everyone, go back to your homes. Jiang Ci clapped his hands and made a gesture to call it a day. From the beginning to the end, Hu Yang had been standing behind Jiang Ci and did not say a word. The 8 people did not hesitate and quickly flew away from the island. Then, they were divided into 2 groups. The 5 golden core cultivators of the reclusive families stopped in a wilderness area by the coast. The youngest Qin, did you see the origin of the strange man beside Jiang Ci? The patriarch of the Shu Jiao frowned and asked. No, that man has never appeared before. It was as if he appeared out of thin air. The man who caught me was the same. His cultivation was at the late stage of the golden core realm. He subdued me with just a few moves. He was terrifyingly strong. The patriarch of the Qin family shook his head. The one who caught you was a man. Then why was the one who caught me a woman? Were you also caught by a woman? Me too. The other 3 patriarchs of the reclusive families looked at each other and were stunned. Was Jiang Ci driving an unknown reclusive force? Otherwise, how could 3 powerful late-stage golden core realm cultivators appear at once? I've heard that some ancient orthodoxies on Earth are not extinct. They're just hidden in places that we don't know about. Could Jiang Ci be from there? The patriarch of the Shu Jiao said with a horrified expression. It's very likely. Otherwise, how could Jiang Ci improve so quickly? Think about it, he's only been cultivating for a few years. Hiss. As soon as this speculation came out, everyone gasped in shock. They finally made a decision. When they returned, they would warn their juniors not to provoke Jiang Ci. Then, they would have to work hard to cultivate. Otherwise, if they were ambushed one day, they would really be gone. The 3 foreign cultivators flew to the other side of the ocean and gathered together. They had more guesses and worries than the patriarchs of the reclusive families. The 3 of them came from the Dark Shadow Kingdom, the Peacock Kingdom, and the Holy Alliance. They were the only pillars of their respective countries. Once they fell, the sky would really fall. The 3 of us must establish an offensive and defensive alliance. Set a national policy. At least for 100 years, don't provoke the Great Xia Kingdom, and don't provoke Jiang Ci. In a valley in the Yi Mountain secret realm. This valley was the place where the dragon python usually lived. At this time, a giant bird of the spirit gathering stage was anxiously guarding here. This was the child of the dragon python. During the beast tide in the Yi Mountain secret realm, it was taught a lesson by Jiang Ci. Roar. The giant bird saw 2 huge figures flying in from the outside. It was the dragon python and the black tortoise roar. It quickly went to greet them with a surprised roar. When the 2 golden core stage demons saw the giant bird, their mood was very complicated. Alas, Uncle Black, this is really embarrassing. The dragon python smiled bitterly. Don't say any more. Little dragon, cultivate well. Now you know that there's always someone better than you. The black tortoise sighed. Thinking of what Jiang Xi said to them on the island just now, the two demons were very shocked. The two demons had a plan in their hearts. They were now the only two golden core stage demons of the demon race on Earth. They had the responsibility to be the guardians of the demon race. Therefore, they were going to take the time to hold a gathering of demons and gather all the demons of the spirit gathering stage. Then, they would announce two things: don't provoke humans, and don't provoke Jiang Xi. As for those monsters below the spirit gathering stage, they were not demons and were not under their jurisdiction. Chapter 247. In the distant pale blue star region, in a flourishing galaxy. This was the headquarters of Qing Xian sect, one of the top 10 immortal sects in the Kanglan star region. Old ancestor Qing Xian was not in the Qing Xian sect. He had left the sect 1,000 years ago to explore the world. The current sect master, Qing Yi, was currently communicating with old ancestor Qing Xian through the communication pearl. Both of them were waiting for good news from the distant starry skies. With this opportunity, I will have a chance to reach the Dao integration stage. Even though old ancestor Qing Xian had experienced countless life and death battles and had a heart as firm as steel, he still couldn't hide his excitement. Although he was only at the late stage of the nascent soul stage, there was a record of him killing nascent soul stage cultivators 1,000 years ago. In fact, with his talent and strength, he could have cultivated the primordial spirit long ago. The reason why he had been suppressing his cultivation all this while was because he had not achieved a breakthrough yet. The reason was very simple. It was because he was cultivating a profound cultivation technique. If he could successfully cultivate this technique, he would have the combat power of a Dao integration stage cultivator when he attained the primordial spirit state. However, having the combat power of a Dao integration stage cultivator and being a true Dao integration stage cultivator were two different things. Dao integration stage cultivators stood at the pinnacle of all cultivators and were powerful beings who could traverse the universe. Therefore, old ancestor Qing Xian's desire for Earth was extremely strong. This is the opportunity for the Qing Xian sect to soar. Qing Yi, the head of the Qing Xian sect, was also filled with ambition. It was different from old ancestor Qing Xian's goal of seeking to reach the peak. Qing Yi really wanted to bring the Qing Xian sect to the same height as the Zhengyun sect, to be able to rule over a star region. However, there was still a question in his heart. The patriarch had never entered the depths of the chaotic star belt, so how did he know about the situation there? After thinking for a while, he asked this question. Qing Yi's sudden question did not make old ancestor Qing Xian unhappy. This was because Qing Yi was the most promising descendant of old ancestor Qing Xian. Old ancestor Qing Xian smiled and said, I guessed. This answer was out of Qing Yi's expectations, speaking of which, this matter is related to the Purple Heaven sect. Old ancestor Qing Xian continued to explain. The Violet Heaven sect of the Three Gates and 6 sects of the Dao Alliance. Even Qing Yi, who had lived for 1,000 years, exclaimed when he heard this. Each of the Dao Alliance's 9 stellar domains was governed by a supreme immortal Dao sect, the 3 schools and 6 sects. The Zixiao region they were in now belonged to the Zixiao sect. Old ancestor Qing Xian nodded with a smile. That's right. 10,000 years ago, Daoist Ge, the Dao integration expert of the Purple Heaven sect, and Yin Tianxing, the Dao integration expert of the Ghost Clan, fought fiercely in the Purple Heaven region, destroying countless planets. In the end, the two of them mysteriously disappeared. No one knows where they went. Dao integration stage, Qing Yi's face was filled with shock. That earth-shattering battle had happened too long ago. Even he, a late nascent soul stage cultivator who had lived for thousands of years, had only heard very little information about it. Old ancestor Qing Xian continued, I once heard that in order to find Daoist Ge, the Purple Heaven sect went to visit an almighty who was good at divination and deduction. They obtained a clue that Daoist Ge and Yin Tianxing would fall on a planet in the depths of the chaotic star belt. Then, the Purple Heaven sect sent out experts to search the entire chaotic star belt, but they found nothing. It wasn't until 6,000 years ago that the Purple Heaven sect announced that Daoist Ge's life tablet was broken that they stopped searching. This matter was also forgotten with the passage of time. Hearing this, Qingyi asked, "Then why can Old Ancestor be sure that the planet that Hu Yang and the others found is the one that the Purple Heaven sect is looking for?" It's very simple. Regardless of whether the Purple Heaven sect found that planet or not, it's in the depths of the chaotic star belt. It was located in the depths of the chaotic star belt, and it hid so many secrets. These 2 points are enough to conclude that it's the place where Daoist Ge and Yin Tiansheng died. Old Ancestor Qing Xian's eyes were suffused with a bloody light. This kind of reasoning didn't need to be completely confirmed at all. It only needed a 50% or even 30% probability to give a definite answer. Moreover, even if the reasoning was wrong, the hidden value of that planet was immeasurable. Qingyi let out a long breath. The shock in his heart couldn't be calmed down for a long time. If Old Ancestor Qing Xian didn't mention this secret, he wouldn't have known at all. Many things had been buried in the long river of time for tens of thousands of years. At this time, Old Ancestor Qing Xian smiled again and said, 2 hours have passed. With Hu Yang and the others' speed, the collection is almost finished. Contact them now. Qingyi's eyes were filled with excitement as he used the communication bead to contact Hu Yang. No answer. He contacted again, but still no answer. Could it be that they were still collecting the original data of that planet? What's going on? Old Ancestor Qing Xian frowned. No answer. Wait a little longer. After waiting for another hour, Qingyi contacted again, but still no answer. 10 hours later, there was still no movement. Qingyi's expression became more and more unsightly. Hu Yang had told him before that the highest combat power on that planet was only the late-stage Gold Core realm. With Hu Yang's mid-stage nascent Soul realm combat power, it was enough to crush everything. It should have been settled long ago, right? Look at their life tablets. The bloody light in Old Ancestor Qing Xian's eyes pulsed faintly. Qingyi nodded. That planet hid many secrets and definitely had many dangers. Perhaps Hu Yang and the others had encountered some danger. His spiritual sense immediately spread out and saw the life tablets of the 3 people at the place where the sect's life tablets were stored. They were intact. That meant that Hu Yang and the others' lives were not in danger. Then what had happened? Hu Yang has always been dissatisfied with me. Could it be that he changed his mind at the last minute and didn't want to hand over that planet to the sect? Qingyi's face sank. Then, he shook his head and denied this inference. If Hu Yang wanted to change his mind, he wouldn't have told them the detailed process of passing through the chaotic star belt. Wait a little longer. Old Ancestor Qing Xian was expressionless. No one knew what he was thinking. The 2 of them waited for another day, but they still couldn't get in touch. In such a situation, there was no need to guess. They knew that something must have happened. Maybe Hu Yang changed his mind at the last minute, or maybe Hu Yang was in danger. Set off now and enter the core area of the chaotic star belt according to Hu Yang's path. See if you can follow the place where he passed through and enter. Old Ancestor Qing Xian's voice was low. There was a bloody light in his eyes and a murderous aura. No matter which possibility it was, he was determined to get that planet. Qingyi nodded. After ending the communication with Old Ancestor Qing Xian, he immediately rushed to the interstellar teleportation array in the sect. He wanted to teleport to the blue planet first, then use the flying ship to go to the chaotic star belt. Blue planet was the closest to the chaotic star belt. At the same time, in the Zixiao region, an uninhabited planet with a gravity that was 1,000 times stronger. Old Ancestor Qing Xian, who lived in seclusion, had eyes that emitted a terrifying bloody light that shot straight into the sky. I must get such an opportunity. Unfortunately, the blood chi spirit fruit here is not ripe yet. I can't leave. Otherwise, I could personally go to the chaotic star belt. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.